Welcome back to the Saturday Ironheart Merchant Company session 35, not 33. A man and his future, and what a future it is. Last time we left off was 3 weeks ago, as we had a little time skip in between sessions. Last time, the party started off, and I believe you guys were set. We started with the Smilodon fight, correct? Just to kind of jog my memory, make sure I'm right. No, that was it was
Hi.
close. It was the no. Never mind. No, I remember exactly now. Yes.
We
Ah,
did the Earth.
yes, that's right. Okay, yeah. As last time we left off with the party managing to go or having managed to spend most of the day and night working gutting most of the day gutting the Smilodons, getting themselves kind of set up. The party decided to kind of spend the night in the cabin, splitting up the watch. Though having two visitors in the night before they are able to get their long rest, the party first would trip the death flag that James had so graciously reminded the dungeon master about from the prior session. With the him having or the party having managed to waste the majority of their spell slots and planning to tuck in for the night, a surprise visit from the three undead dragons and Mother herself from the Sunday little side adventures would appear in the night, casually casting off a nightmare spell to try and apparently see if the party was within the house itself, and having managed to succeed their save, with Melvin also completely unconscious at the time and snoring, the creatures seemed to decide to head off. And as the party would take a second, taking a breath, realizing that the creatures had vanished as they heard the sound of the artillery crack as the creatures' wings fluttered and they shot off like a rocket, they would decide to head out into the snow to get a quick view and look around, making sure nothing was coming. And after the visit of a Smilodon snooping around, the only other visit the party would run into would be Jakix himself, in which the party would decide to make a deal with Cinder himself, making a personal request. After being or giving a personal request to Jakix, after having his memory sifted through for the location of the dragon pit itself, in exchange for Jakix's any information he finds out when he goes and digs up the things he's looking into. The two would continue on to meet up with James and Rolliman, and Jakix, being a bit kinder than usual, would make two deals with James, one removing Face himself, and the other in the assistance to... I'm just checking my own notes real quick. In exchange for giving information on a djinn that they were looking for, he would get a chance to ask and make questions of the same creature. The party, having managed to come to an understanding and acceptance of this deal, would watch as Jakix would head off into the snow, vanishing. Though, as the party themselves would think it was time to get out there, get some elementals killed, and get some leveling done. Unfortunately, as they would go and spend the rest of the night relaxing, getting their long rest, the next morning, going out to look at the elementals, the party would somehow manage to trip a alarm, something of the sort. They were unsure, but something went off, and the large, and then suddenly a creature from the sky came imploding down towards the ground. Blowing a hole into the ground as it did, as the party escaped with all the materials that they had preloaded and Melvin loaded up on the cart, turning into what was basically a mech piloted by Zebril, as any good TV show does, giving you a chance to play as the main character of the show that you are watching. With the Terminator-like Melvin charging off, carrying a whole sled full of meat from the Smilodons, the party would together manage to run off and get to the trees before this creature from the sky would drop down, almost at the size of what looked to be a large dragon, as the party managed to reach the trees, turning back and seeing it in the cloud of smoke. This being seemed to tear apart the village, destroying everything, killing a few elementals in its wrath, and then vanishing in the smoke just as quickly. With the party Curious and both concerned, having waiting a few minutes to let the creature leave, decided to back on to go check out the cores of the elementals, gathering a few of them and choosing to leave the others alone as they found a strange red death ore-like material that seemed to be quite dangerous. The party would take what they could, the few materials that they were willing to risk, and continue on with their journey, heading back to Velkomen to deal with whatever that Jakix was putting up with face back in the city. As the party would find themselves traveling through the rest of the day, this icy forest, the sounds of the wind wailing, these screams of the wind as it would rush through the trees, kind of emphasizing a eerie battlefield that would appear. The party would find themselves coming onto what looked to be a massacre of different giants, many of them looking to have been just torn apart or shredded by a single being. Many seeming, as the party found, to have the markings of Lithotara and her followers. With the markings and their eldritch-like coloration, the party didn't take much to realize that this battlefield seemed to be the leftovers of whatever Jakix and Face had gotten into. With concern, but patience, the party decided to continue back towards Velkomen, stopping at the bottom of the hill, while Cinder himself ran up, expecting a bit of a fight and wanting to scout out the situation, least expecting the triumph that was awaiting him as the party kind of found themselves awkwardly waiting for a few moments while Cinder explained that his nephew would be around shortly with the rest of the Ironheart Merchant Company to accept the warm welcome and the triumph that was being held by Regan Utham and his guard. After a few moments of awkward waiting, more than a few moments, the party would finally manage to climb up the sides of Velkomen's stairs, arriving at the cheering crowd and being offered pretty much as everything that they had hoped for: the access to Rimperser's last hold, the ability to grow their business, and having managed to build a name for themselves. Though cringing slightly at the title of hero, the party would be offered, lastly, a request of what James himself would want for this great deed that his party had supposedly done. Though, unfortunately, as he would later find out in the background, his party didn't accomplish this. This was what Jakix managed to do in his party's name, removing Face from the territory. But as James took a moment, pondering, thinking, trying to think quickly, we left off there as he was waiting to put in his request with Regan Utham. In the 3 weeks since, the party has spent their downtime, not only with James having made a request of Regan Utham, which he is up to share if he wishes, or it'll be a note that'll come up later in campaign, we will see. But as well as spending some time going about the town and working with the city, the party has managed to gather some information, get some items together, and all around settle some minor downtime as they come back together. Right, we join back as you lot are sitting in the bottom floor of what looks to be a large long hall. With a single massive table, a small head of the table a little bit raised up for James to sit at, with the title of president of the Ironheart Merchant Company carved into the chair, slightly raised up to allow James to actually see over the very high table. Well as beside him a chair for Rolliman, who surprisingly seems to be absent at this point, James having been told that Rolliman plans to spend time training amongst the troops, learning a bit more about how giants fight, if the expectation could be that you'll be fighting more of them in the future. And with the other one across from him being the other chair across from it saying having for Drift, as well as the Iron Warden's own crew. Though those two chairs are currently empty, Melvin and Cinder find themselves kind of slightly askewed off to the side, sitting in chairs that have kind of seemed to be a little bit lower, having to put a few cushions on to kind of raise themselves up to be at the table, as this table seems to have been designed for giants. You lot all gather together as a few, not crew members, but waiters and waitresses who are working the small tavern attachment to this business that has already started to open up and earn a couple of coin pieces, kind of bring in some heavy stew, what looks to be a hearty thing of potatoes and some sort of dark black like carrots. As well as a thick mulled, almost cinnamon-like wine that is served with it. As they kind of set the stuff down, they immediately kind of bow and then close the doors behind them, leaving you lot to sit amongst yourselves. Your crew are still kind of out shopping as they are, and we come back with the three of you sitting there, or yeah, three of you sitting there. News of Rad having already reached your ears, James, yesterday.
I'm going to look at Cinder and go, well, we're going to make a trip to Dragon's Gate. Or Dragon's Crown. Where am I getting Dragon's Gate from? Either way, well, you're gonna have to make a trip back there. Possibly to Rolleman's own death?
Are you
I don't want to do that.
telling me I have to go back?
No. Kind of.
All right.
We'll go back after we handle some other stuff. I did inform Rad ahead of time that should he not be back and we find out something like this were to happen, we would be coming to get him.
Well, I guess
He does
we'll go when your friend actually comes back.
Yes. He does. Rad also already has the child support on him, which reminds me which means I do need to get whatever money Rollman has on him back. This is the second time I've had to try to pay this child support for him, and if I have to do it a third, all these sale offers I'm getting for him, I might take.
Didn't you? Well, yeah, deal with it later. Can't do anything about it
Wait,
now.
we can sell Rowleman?
No. I'm gonna be
No.
the more this here and say no.
We really shouldn't, and I really don't actually want to. I'm just frustrated with him. Anyways, we think, Uncle, you and I were looking into these hellhounds. Care to share what you learned?
Dastardly buggers called Nessians. Large, angry, breathe fire, fight in packs, and they attack the guard outposts. Didn't learn much else. Although they're weak to cold, I might be able to do something.
I found out the same type of things and purchased these as I pass two wands over to you, Melvin. One's of Orb of Lesser Cold, and the other is Protection from Evil.
Oh, thank you. I'm
I
sure
have
these
a
will come
copy
in great use.
I have a copy of each of these myself, and I think if we've prepared fairly well, we can head to where we need to.
We can go ask about nearby outposts. We're probably gonna have to post up for a few days. I guess I'll take the quest paper,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go ask. I'm assuming this tavern's where we got the quest.
Yes. There is a tavern, or there is the guild in town that is, of course, set up. Yes, the Frozen Brain Adventuring Guild that is set at the center of the Velkomen's pillar. It kind of represents its major guilds. However, yeah, your own tavern does have a quest board that seems to filter in some of the quests that are being posted to kind of get more of the sailors interested.
I'm assuming the guild is more likely to have info on where these outposts are that are being attacked.
A safe assumption.
Yeah, so I'll get up. And I'll be like, I'm gonna head to the guild and see where the nearby outposts are. I'll try to pick a favorable one.
Trust you with that, Uncle. I also picked up potions of fire resistance. I figured they'll be helpful for you.
Yeah.
And us.
Just divvy those up after I get back. I'll see what kind of terrain we're dealing with.
All right. As he'll head out. So we're set up in our actual shop base now, right?
The bottom floor, it's still very much under construction as you're kind of taking a look at it. So as the rest of the workshop has not been set up, your upper barracks area is very much an open roof policy right now, as there isn't a ceiling on the top floor. And the beds are mostly just on the floor at this point. This place is still very much under construction. Also, I will mention none of the windows or glassware has been put in, as that is still being made, and you don't expect that for at least another half a year.
It's fine. We're making do. It's coming along.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, Melvin, what would you like to do? I'm kind of indisposed with needing to do anything myself right now.
Well, I mean, they did bring all this food in. I'd hate to see it go to waste.
Let's have a nice meal then, and we can see about setting off when we need to.
Okay. As you lot begin to kind of sit down enjoying yourselves, yeah. Is there anything anywhere else you guys would like to go as far as it goes before? Or is it, you just go and let Cinder head off to the Adventuring Guild by himself out of curiosity?
He's faster than any of us, and if someone can catch his ass here, then there's a problem generally.
I'm
Okay.
not alone. A leopard.
No, that's true. All right. Yeah, as you two kind of sit down to a quiet meal and begin to enjoy yourselves eating, kind of relaxing, hearing the band in the other room kind of lightly playing some music. So you watch as Cinder kind of pushes out and heads out the front door, heading into town. As you head off into town, Cinder, before we get over to you, Melvin, as you're talking to James for a moment, kind of chatting, enjoying yourself, you suddenly get a message in your head from Zebril letting you know to expect company.
Don't ask me how I know this, but I think we have somebody coming to help us with our job.
James is gonna look at Melvin and just go, Melvin, I have a good idea of what you are and possibly who you're attached to. That's fine.
Oh, very level-headed decision-making. Okay, sure. Yeah, you say this. And we pop over to Cinder. Cinder, as you're kind of running through the streets, I will mention that you do notice, or give me actually a spot check to see if you notice anything, and give me a listen check if you hear anything along your path.
Okay. I'm good at listen. I'm not great at spot. I'm not burning a fucking spell to boost my spot.
Well, this is just kind of casual to see if anything catches your eyes as you're walking.
23 listen.
Okay, 23 listen.
Then I only have a +5 to spot. Well, I hear things. I don't see things.
As you're kind of walking through the streets, excuse me, you hear the light rumors and comments of people passing you by. People whispering about the sudden influx of purple giants, kind of popping amongst their ranks, mentioning something about the Eldritch joining the ranks of Hrim Purser's last hold and seemingly coming to an accord. There seem to be a lot of whispers and rumors as you're walking through the streets about a giant clan fully signing on under Regan Utham. The exact name you get. Give me a second. I'm gonna send you the name for your own note later.
Yeah. I don't know how Cinder feels about a clan just showing up and signing on right after we supposedly slaughtered a bunch of them.
As you're kind of heading through, you do notice as well that there seem to be a few amongst the frost giants who seem to be larger, stronger looking, even more capable. Some that look to dwarf even the frost giant guards that are walking about. Many of them having purple skin or green skin, seemingly kind of not doing anything, but you do notice they seem to eye up people. Many of them wearing armor as you pass by.
Mm-hmm.
But as you continue on your walk through the streets, the sounds of cheering and laughter, as well as the sounds of celebration, kind of going on through the taverns as you pass by, seems to be a normal day amongst town. Otherwise, as you finally go over to the guild, coming up to the side pillar of the academy, where the frozen or yes. Sorry, I always have to double check my notes here. The Frozen Brain Adventuring Guild. Yes. Sorry, I'm reading the little notes I have here in the background. Kind of heading up towards it. You do notice that the pillar itself on this side seems to have opened up a even larger doorway. The building seemingly having expanded and grown wider. As you head in, you see giants of all colors. Some that look like fire, some that look like frost, some that purple, some green. One that has a strange, almost like beak-like mouth and seems to be short with a turtle-like shell around it. It's almost very almost crowded amongst the guild itself as you come into the first floor, looking up at the multiple floors above you as you do so. But as you kind of look around, the receptionist, who seems to be very almost surrounded by the multiple giants, seems to kind of be drowning, not even paying attention to you. But you see the staircase heading up, and remembering that the guild itself does offer most of its stuff at the top floor. You don't need the receptionist necessarily for anything. What would you like to do?
All right. Now for the mission of a dwarf going up these stairs.
Yes. By the way, Cinder, I have a question. Are you wearing a helmet or anything to cover your face? And secondly, how much do you consider yourself a member, or how close to the main members of the family of your bloodline in facial features?
Well, the point was that I wasn't super close to the main bloodline.
Okay.
Because I was like a... So I'd assume I'd look a little similar, but not super, especially with how I wear my hair and everything.
Perfect. Okay. Want to make sure.
And I'm not wearing a helmet, but my hair covers like half my face.
True. All right. Yeah. As you head up, give me another listen check as you're kind of heading up the stairs. As snow kind of follows alongside you.
17.
In the distance, you hear James sighing.
Oh, he's loud. Loud today.
But no, as you look on, heading up, you do hear something about people arguing down below. You do hear the group of giants. Do you speak giant by chance?
I do.
Ah, okay. You hear the Eldritch Giant as you kind of catch the sight of him being as big and purple as he is, and kind of hearing the name before used. You hear him say something along the lines of, "If Regan Utham's going to be giving us quests, you better be paying us more for these missions. There's a creature out there capable of killing armies. We shouldn't be getting paid only 85,000. There should be hundreds of thousands of gold end out there." The other giant seemingly agreeing and cheering on, kind of pushing the receptionist, who seems to be getting kind of shoved into a bit of a corner of her desk. But as you kind of continue heading up, they seem to kind of get angry down below, but you don't hear anything that seems to sound like metal being pulled or any sounds of weapons being moved about. Would you like to do anything?
No, I'm a decent person, but I like to run the character morally gray, as I've showed. It's not my problem.
Oh. Yeah, as you continue kind of spiraling up the stairs, the climb on each one, half the stairs being too tall for you to really get up, as you have to kind of walk up, pull yourself up, and start climbing over. Give me a climb check if you wouldn't mind, please.
Surprisingly decent at these. What's my mod? Oh, yeah. Well, for a druid, it's not horrible. 17. Could be worse.
As you walk up each step, kind of sighing as you look up, seeing that each of these is just slightly above your height, and you're going to have to pull yourself up each step. You kind of rest your elbows up on top of it and slowly pull yourself up with the first one. And as you realize there's multiple flights of stairs up until the top floor, you take a big sigh and get to work as you start climbing.
The work I do for family.
Exactly. As you begin to climb one by one, the next floor seems to be empty and almost quiet as you kind of find yourself circling and circling. until you finally reach the top floor where you see what looks to be a Snowbeard kind of sitting behind the desk, smiling at you. A bunch of what looks to be skulls hung up on the wall of different creatures. Some long bones that look to be like almost snake-like spines. What looks to be a dragon scale proudly being displayed under a heavy glass. What looks to be glass case. As you kind of walk up and look over at the Snowbeard, he kind of looks up at you, and you see he seems to be have a very short mustache, very closely clipped beard. This individual is very neat, but also seems to be very not dwarvish in his appearances. You also notice much of his garb looks to be very giant-like in culture, wearing very traditional raider gear instead, and carrying a great axe on his back. As he looks over at you and smiles, and you see most of his teeth are missing, and you hear him speak up and go, "Well, I don't see many my kind here. Name's Bill Murray. How you doing there, old man?"
I'm doing all right. You can call me Cinder.
All right, old man. What can I do for you?
Looking for information on where these bases being attacked by the hounds are. As I'll hold up the quest paper.
Oh, I didn't think anybody was gonna pick that up. We had that request come through, and the guy who requested it got eaten. We got one other taker for the quest. A fella just left here a moment ago, said he was going to wait downstairs at the entrance for whoever came to pick up the quest. Guess that must be you. Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told him. Ain't much information. I can tell you where the last outpost was that they were seen, but beyond that, we don't know anything else.
Yeah, no, I just need to know where some nearby outposts are. I want to pick one with decent terrain to fight these things.
There's a small fort that's been built up by some locals after the discovery of some trees that had some issues a while back. They started cutting down the forest near the roads and built up a small fort. Probably, last I heard, they had a few buildings set up. Probably your best place for fortification. Only like a few. There should be only a few scouts there.
It'll work. Here, can you mark in the map where it is exactly?
Yeah, he kind of, as he draws onto the map and points about what looks to be 3 days west of, east of Velkomen.
That's not too bad.
He looks over at you and kind of goes, "By the way, you related to that, what was his name? Eider Frosthorn fella. You gotta look like him."
I'm trying to think if I would have ever met Eider.
Eider. So give me a knowledge history. Let's do it.
Because with my backstory, I don't think I would have known the personal names of most people I'm related to.
Well, also Eider's a low-ranking member of the family as well, being James's cousin.
How good am I at history? I think I'm just +4. All right. +4. Yeah, probably not.
As you kind of think about it, you've snooped through your nephew's logs a little bit to find out what they've been up to. Just to make sure they were on the up and up when you joined their ship. Make sure they weren't planning to turn you in as soon as they got you on board, like any good uncle would do. As you did read something about a member of someone with the same name, but I mean the name Eider could have been like 7 uncles of yours at this point. I mean there were so many family members. Your clan wasn't small by any means, so.
So Eider's like a decently common name.
Yeah, the spelling can change and vary, but it's also one of the names most commonly used amongst the lesser members of the Frosthammer and Treasurehorn clans.
I'm related to quite a few Eiders. I don't know any of them personally. I think I have about 7 off the top of my head.
Bill Murray kind of tilts his head and just kind of shrugs and goes, "Well, fair enough. I figured I'd give you a heads up in case, because there are some Giants looking to claim his head a while ago. They said they were sent here by, what was the name? Oh, shoot, it was a funny name. I can't remember. It was something like, Tone, was it? Oh, White Tone, that's what it was. White Tone was coming for him. So, I figured I'd give you a heads up.
Can I roll on who that is?
Sure. Again, knowledge history, or actually, knowledge history will work for that.
Okay. See if I roll any higher. If I don't, whatever. But that's an even lower. Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar in the slightest.
Well, best they'll get from me is a goose chase because I'm not going to know which one they're talking about.
He nods that and goes, fair enough. Anyways, if you end up needing anything, let me know. We snowbeards gotta look out for one another.
I probably will, but understand it won't be often. As I glance at the stairs.
He kind of nods at that and goes, "Oh, I got an elevator thing. It's this great magical device that Regan was kind enough to have put in. One of the academy students basically lifts up this block of wood, and I stand on it. It pulls me up here, and then it lowers down at different times of the day.
That would have been nice to know. I just climbed all those stairs.
It's only available to staff, sadly.
Well, that makes me feel a lot less bad. All right, have a good day. Just presumably going a little faster down the stairs. It's probably easier to go down.
Give me a jump check as you're kind of jumping down.
My jump is the same as my climb. Yep. Please. 16.
You managed to not go tumbling all the way down, thankfully, as you managed to land yourself the first time, getting your feet pretty solid on the ground as you jump down, and kind of going down. It becomes easier and easier as you start to get a rhythm and a pattern, kind of picking up momentum as you do. But yeah, as you start to kind of head back down and head out,
I'm looking for this guy who was supposedly also going on the quest.
as you get to the bottom floor and kind of see the giant still kind of looking over at the receptionist, kind of making demands, you hear once again, now loudly as they speak in giant, "If the Regan's gonna do this, then he should be goddamn going out there by himself. There's no reason we should be risking our lives like this." As the receptionist just looks up at them, and you can see her kind of slightly push back across the to the other side of her desk as she watches them kind of angrily voicing their opinions. But as you walk out walk out the front door, as soon as you open it, you're greeted by, I'll let him introduce himself if he'd like. Chastophilus? Have I got that right?
Yes, that is right.
Surprise.
Chastophilus.
My Roman names are the only ones I'm good at. Go ahead.
Chastophilus is a 8-foot tall, mass of fucking something that seems to be squirming all over the place, under a very, very heavy black cloak, with an obvious, very minor enchantment of just a shadow obscuring the face.
Cinder, immediately, for your own note, just a quick note, this seems almost similar to you, or would appear like a disguised or slightly altered creature of a pseudo-troll, upon immediate look, because, being pseudo-trolls are a very well-known race in the world.
Only race around that height. Oh, he's a little short for a pseudo-troll.
That's the first creature that comes to mind when you see this.
Only creature that writhes like that, as far as I know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can I help you?
Are you Cinder?
That's me. You are?
The figure kind of turns its head left and right, looking around. I am Chastophilus. forth in Zebral's favor.
Mm.
A distant woman gasps and a child suddenly cries.
Does Chastophilus hear them?
Slightly, yes, in the distance.
His head whips over.
The baby goes silent.
He kind of slowly turns his head back towards Cinder. Where's Melvin?
Oh, you're one of his friends. I can bring it to him. I was going back to him anyway.
The figure just nods.
Okay.
I guess we're just going on.
Yeah, Cinder starts kind of walking back through the town. As you do head through town, Cinder or Chastophilus, sorry. Do you either of you listening to anything particular or trying to note anything about town as you're going about, or are you just kind of trying to get to where you're going as quick as possible?
I think with everything that's been happening in the last few days for Cinder, I'm just listening to anything that could be useful.
Okay, give me a listen check then, yeah, on your walk home.
Chastophilus is also incredibly paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
And his cloak's head is twitching around back and forth at any little noise that he hears. So I would also like to...
Yeah, feel free. Nice.
Don't worry, Wolf, I have
Cinder.
super...
32, Jesus Christ.
Well, not that good. 14.
Don't worry, I am the listener.
Chastophilus, the only thing I can say is you do not hear a single mention of your name or even a mention of your individual uniqueness. It seems no one seems to notice you as you kind of head amongst, or at least no one seems to comment out loud on you, about you. As you kind of head through the streets following after Cinder. However, Cinder, as you're listening in, you do hear a few mentions of Lithotara being spotted near the city of Velkomen. The guards, some guards whispering and commenting about a upcoming fight to prove a holy war is coming. One of the guards seems to whisper to a merchant talking about supplies being cut off from the lower territories. As you kind of hear this it doesn't take long to realize that that means that the mountains will probably be cut off at some point. As you continue heading through town, the last thing that you catch is a eldritch giant that mentions something about West Wind Clinic being the first location, and as you're walking through the streets.
Well, I'm noting that. That's incredible. So when they say, they don't mean followers, because they just said Lithotara, so the god itself is nearby.
That's what you heard.
Jesus Christ, that's horrifying.
I will say, in the last few nights, Cinder, to you wouldn't notice this as much, because this would be less something you'd pick up given your background. However, to something on a background for Melvin to note that I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the session, I do apologize. Last few weeks, James has been looking as if he's had heavy bags under his eyes, and he's getting his full night's rest, but do notice he's not looking as good these last 3 weeks. James himself doesn't seem to notice much of it, other than the minor incident he had, as one of his nightmares hit him, as we'll call it. But beyond that, he doesn't seem to notice the black line, or the heavy bags that are starting to pop up under his eyes, and the paleness that's starting to pick up on his skin. But as you continue going through the town, Cinder, with having noted that, as you kind of catch that the two of you kind of pull up to this building that looks to be Chastophilus. You see that the building looks to be half, but under construction. The bottom building having large window holes in it that cold wind is kind of blowing through. The side building looking to and sounding like what you would expect of a tavern, as you can hear light music being played and what looks to be sailors of sorts kind of coming in and out of the building as people seem to be kind of enjoying themselves. The side building looks to be more half under construction with the not only a middle above part where you can see the roof is completely gone, but the full left side of the building is completely open and just a wooden frame at this point. The central portion being what looks to be a heavy dining hall with large holes in it, where of course what looks to be glass would be. Assuming Zebra would know what glass is, I figure at this point.
Dude, he's seen it plenty.
I know he doesn't decorate with
Even
it,
though
but
he doesn't
you know,
have it.
yeah. But yeah, so as you come up to the building, it looks to be very much under construction as frost giants are walking in and out, kind of going about moving parts. The sounds of hammering kind of being heard about the building. But as you two walk up to the center building, Cinder kind of opens the door, or rather knocks on the large door that seems to open itself, allowing the two of you to enter. Where you see still sitting, kind of eating and kind of light conversation, Melvin and James at the table.
I'll walk over and be like, nephew, you want the bad news or the worst news?
Let's go with the bad news
Or
first.
or the business news. It's kind of just neutral.
Let's start at the worst. Actually, work our way up.
There's a god nearby.
Oh God, Uncle, you remember that? That's not good.
I'm not gonna say their whole name because names have power and that'd be a bad idea. The primordial god, the rot one,
Give me a knowledge religion.
death cult, if you will.
Sure, I'll give you a knowledge religion. It's a +6. All right.
You know, you've heard mention of like death cults going around killing people. There's so many death cults at this point that you've had to deal with now, James, in just 2 years. There's too many to remember.
Do you have any idea how little that slims it down?
I just stare at James and go, "Getting it." How many death cults do you know that have a primordial god backing them?
Roughly 4?
No. I don't even know if there are that many primordial gods left.
Either way, I understand the gist. That's bad.
That's cults run by giants. The giants that are in town.
Does that trigger it now? Because we did cover that before.
As you kind of take a second,
corpses.
Cinder mentions that you remember seeing the symbol of Lithotara and kind of the rough information you were able to get. Remember about the creature being a god of rot. Cinder didn't, I believe, was the one who got the information. Didn't give you much more beyond that, I believe.
I think I told something along the lines of evil god. It's best not to get involved with them. They're against nature, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't do much. We can't exactly leave either.
Secondary news, which is really connected. Everyone in town thinks a holy war is about to happen with this god.
Ugh.
And all the mountains are probably going to be locked off when it starts.
So either be up here or
out.
Shit.
James, give me an intelligence check. I'm gonna give you a chance at remembering something very useful for you.
16.
James, there is a tunnel in Hrimperser's last hold to Knighton.
Oh yeah.
That you can
And there's
use.
a bridge between Belcomen and Hrimperser's last hold.
So you could still theoretically leave as you think about it. You just have to figure out a way to seal the tunnel so that way nothing could get in, and you'd have to make sure that whoever owns the shop now doesn't freak out when you pop out of their ground.
I know how to get up and down the mountain.
DM, the outpost I got marked, is it closer to Knighton or Belcomen?
Technically, if it's with it being 3 days, it'd be closer to Knighton.
Okay. Okay. Right. Extra bad news. It's very vague, and I'll let you know if it's bad news. And I'll get in closer because I know there's other people around. There was a big purple giant who mentioned something. I only heard a glimpse about the Westwind Clinic being the first target.
Why in the past 3 weeks they've let them come in, I'm not sure.
Well, if I had to guess, probably keeping an eye on them. If they try something and is watching for it, easier to deal with than an unexpected attack.
That's fair. We should probably let Hroten know about this.
I'll do it. I think I'm the least noticeable, at least to move around.
I was just gonna I was just going to write a note and have it passed off, but that seems
Also,
probably safer
please,
to tell him.
please tell me you have a better way out of the town than the stairs.
From Hermhurst's last hold, yes.
It's not better. Okay. I'll be ready to skate down the side of the mountain again. I guess I'm off to
Note
talk
to
to
self.
Hroten. I'll meet you at the exit of town.
We'll meet you at the stairs. By the way, who's this big fellow that looks shadowed?
Well, he can introduce himself when he speaks. He said he knew Melvin.
Melvin, as you look over, seeing the figure.
Yeah, Melvin, as you look over at me, there's you can hear like the little whispers of telepathic thought just from everybody around who's not really guarding from it. And you look at me and it's just silence, just like dead silence. I go, "Hello, Melvin. 69th and Zebral's favor."
Nice.
Do you say this aloud?
Yeah.
Slow turn to Melvin. Slow turn back to the person. That confirms a lot.
I am Chastophilus, 4th in Zebral's favor.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
The hood turns towards James. Are you the would-be god?
No, I've kind of sworn off. I've kind of made an oath to swear off that for a while.
An oath. This
Aye.
is news to the master.
I can't try to rise for 100 years.
Well, would-be god. I am here to assist you.
Your help is welcome.
Yeah, just goes silent again.
I guess I'll gather up everybody and start heading towards the Emma that's going with us, which would be me, Melvin, and Chastophilus.
That was so horrible. Chastophilus, man. Awfulus.
Chastophilus.
There you
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
respect the name.
I'm trying
Damn.
to.
Melvin, rightfully so, as a little brother, is just attached at the hip now.
And falling next to Chastophilus the entire time.
Melvin, by the way,
Totally.
once we...
Oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead first. I don't want to interrupt that. I can discuss the plan for combat later.
I was just gonna talk to Melvin about magic.
Go right ahead.
I'll speak to him telepathically. And Chastophilus goes silent.
Melvin, you suddenly get barraged with words in your head as you begin to hear the requests and concepts of magic. To kind of bring up a discussion about it as you two begin to converse. As you, I will say, or I'm curious, Chastophilus, what are you bringing up specifically, or is there anything specific?
No, not much specific.
Okay.
He was just making conversation because Melvin was kind of attached to him.
Okay.
And he doesn't know how to interact with people not in the hive.
Fair. Okay. As you kind of continue walking on, James, you can see as the two seem to kind of go back and forth in some sort of like silent conversation that you are no part of as the awkward silence continues.
Every once in a
This
while,
is fine.
there are out loud laughs, and then back to silent.
This is fine.
No.
This gives James time to think up names for the shop that's in Belcomen.
That's true. As
Uh,
as you guys
I
head
wonder.
towards the stairs,
I wonder if the Iron Giant is already taken.
as you mention that term, you feel the word lost on your tongue, as that is a true name of a being already.
What
Uh,
is?
You
Sorry.
you were now God knows what.
What is the true name?
I will leave that to James to repeat. If he wishes.
I'm
Yourself.
holding that one. I am holding that one.
But as
I
you
dumped into that. Thank
As
God.
you three head over towards the stairs, James kind of deep in thought. Cinder, you said you were heading off to Hrimpersh's Last Hold?
Didn't Hroten have a shop here in?
Oh, he does. He
Yeah.
owns a yeah. He runs an armor smithy. I think it was no. Oh yeah, no, I've got it. Yeah, Stirk.
Yeah,
Um,
I just need to talk to Hroten about what I heard because I just I was asked to. So
Yeah, as you head into town, kind of looking for the smithy that's set up towards the academy, off to the side where you see the large, like almost fenced-off field outside of the building. A small smithy from the outside, though the smell of corpses very pungent in the air as you get closer, Cinder.
normal smell.
As you kind of walk up, knocking on the door, it kind of eerily opens up as you head in, and you see Hroten just kind of working away at what looks to be some strange grayish skin that as he hammers it, it seems to change color and shape almost to foreign designs, some that look devilish, some that look demonic, and then back again as he continues to work away. Kind of looking up from you as he spits into the fire real quick, and then looks back up at you and goes, "Oh, Cinder, how can I help you?"
I was asked to ferry a warning, making sure the doors behind me before I start speaking. Closed.
Yeah, as you close the door behind you, it kind of dings, and as you do, and he kind of looks over, raises an eyebrow, and goes, "Message? Sure, all right."
Warning. I heard the purple ones in town talking. The big fellas.
Well, uh-huh.
I heard a concerning sentence one of them said. Something about Westwind is the first target.
Again?
Yep.
You know, I think Regan Utham's gonna really get a great kick out of the fact that every time something happens in that town, it's always that clinic.
So I would hope the Regan already knew. Seems like a smart fellow, but it seems the group you just brought in are already looking at how to kill you.
He shrugs and looks as he kind of puts the hammer down, scratches the side of his head, and goes, "Regan's got a plan. I'm not party to it."
Well, now you know where they're swinging for first. Suppose that could help at least a little bit.
He nods. Goes, "All right. I'm almost done with the armor for Rolleman. He said he was going to be hanging around town for the day. So I figure I'll get this all set up for you guys and have it dropped off at the shop."
Appreciate that. Oh, also more minor. It's not really my problem, but I didn't really get involved directly. A lot of the new giants are bullying the receptionist at the guild. Something about demanding more pay. Don't want it to spiral out of control.
Ain't my responsibility. Ain't my department.
Yeah, whatever. I've shared my warning. I gotta go catch up to the others.
Hey, be careful. There's a wandering creature down below we've been spotting about 7 days out. Not sure if it's heading this way, but if it does, my recommendation is get the hell out of its way. Regan has made a clear statement.
You mean the divine?
You already know that much, then you already know what the next part of my warning's gonna be.
No, I already know what they're doing too. I'm the paranoid type. I like to listen in.
He nods.
Don't worry. We're gonna be near Knighton for a little bit. We're going on a quest.
Uh,
Worst case, we'll run for it. I mean, no matter how great, I can't exactly fight a god.
my memory serves me right. The last time your organization got near Knighton, the entire city's magic got stolen. You sure you want to go there during the time of this godlike divine being arriving, especially with Regan with him watching everything? He might look at James as nothing more than a cursed artifact.
We're gonna be about 3 days from Knighton. We're not going near the city.
So you say.
I hope not.
As he picks his hammer back up and begins hammering again, he looks up at
Oh.
you and smiles and goes, "Yeah, but life has a funny way of changing things."
Yeah. I'll steer off course, worst case. Have a good day, friend.
He nods as you kind of walk there, or open the door and head out. The dinging of the bell as it closes. As you head off to catch up with the party. As you continue through the town, it becomes kind of quite noticeable that there is a large number of mixed giants, seemingly almost amongst this town now. Like, there's thousands of these bastards walking around the city as you start to kind of walk through and get a real appreciation of the town, Cinder.
Like, just the two breeds or all kinds, like stone
All
giants?
kinds. It looks like there is suddenly a massive amount of giants popping up in this town. Forest, bog, you see what looks to be sand, stone, hill. It seems to be almost as if something's going on as you walk through the town. People seem, though, to be at peace, though the bustling becomes quite loud as the morning continues on as you kind of rush your way through the town, heading towards the stairs once more. But as you kind of head through the bustling crowds, the sounds of the morning breakfast groups kind of heading towards the taverns, shoving and singing, laughing, managing to get by. You as you get over towards the docks, you do notice that there looks to be almost 40 ships docked. Many of them looking to be massive. In size and having strange, like almost symbols on them, similar to James's own merchant vessel. Each of them having a unique flag. One of them even catching your eye as you look down, that has what looks to be a black root as its flag, kind of sticking out. Being a druid yourself, that kind of something, that symbolism that catches your own attention. But otherwise, as you walk through, none of the other ships kind of immediately catch your eye. Give me a search check if you want to see if there's anything specific.
Yeah. 14 search. And what do you want me to roll to recognize the black symbol?
Give me a knowledge nature.
Ooh. Okay. My highest knowledge check. 6. Plus 14. Oh, there we go.
Jesus. You would recognize their symbol that symbol as the Grove of here, let me check my note. The Grove of Undeath. Supposedly a group of druids that worship a strange, lanky-like being that some people have described as a skinny and short giant. Some people have described the creature as a very scrawny Goliath. Others have said it just looks to be some sort of dragon making jokes of Tanaruk's figure. It's not much that kind of catches, or there's not much else known about these individuals other than the fact that they seem to celebrate necromancy as their main focus of magic, and don't really have much of a care for the living. As you do look down, though, the vessels, two sigils catch your attention. Firstly, the Golden Heart Merchant Company catches your eye. And secondly, you recognize a mark that you saw in the dragon pits. What looks to be a large blue, like froggy or frog-like hand pushed onto a sail. You recognize this as one of the few symbols you had seen during your time there, but though nothing comes to mind what this was associated with, other than it being drawn on the board repeatedly and circled. Creatures, the individuals kind of working amongst the pits themselves, seemingly focused on it and then feeding serums to strange frog-like creatures to seemingly give them magic, though watching them explode on a constant, nothing seemed to ever take, as you noticed.
Just knowing where it's from, his right eye, the void eye specifically, dilates, and then he shakes his head and keeps walking. Knowing that if they're here, I do not want their attention, whoever they are.
Alright. As you kind of head off, continuing your journey, pushing through, as you get towards the staircase, you see the party kind of waiting there for you as they look down, kind of getting their stuff together, prepping to get down the staircase. As you come upon them, as you run up to them, what you hear are all four of you immediately hear someone in the distance go, "Wait, wait, excuse me!" And common as this tiny, like as you turn around and see this tiny blonde-haired orange tabaxi rushing over to you in what looks to be very nice merchant attire.
Do I recognize this man?
He looks similar. He does look similar to the one known as Crump Senior that you had seen back in the Smog Clans. However, this individual looks very young and youthful in comparison.
Cinder blinks, seeing a race in the giant that is shorter than him, and just goes, "Can we help you?"
My name is.
Take your breath.
Take a breath, lad. Take a breath. You're a crump.
Anyway, I'm the cousin to the Grump. If I'm not the man, I'm not part of the main Grumps. Because my hands are not as big, unfortunately. They are still bigger than most of the other Rakshasas. He kind of like leans over and like really tries to catch a breath. You see he spits on the ground for a moment as it kind of like hangs there and then slowly droops away.
I telepathically to Chestophilus just go, I guess this one doesn't know how to breathe.
Chestophilus is just oh good.
No, I'm sorry, I'm here. I'm just Chestophilus stays silent.
Awkward looking at Melvin. As the young Crump looks up at you and goes, oh, I have a message from my cousin. He has this. He kind of pulls out a little letter and hands it to you. And he goes, he has mentioned to give you this. And it says, he kind of like looks down at the ground for a second, like you see his eyes kind of like really focus and goes, oh yes, there is some people who are offering to sell an item, a ship in a bottle that is worth a lot of money to you lot, and we're interested if you'd be interested. It's 10 million gold pieces is the price, but it's a item that's said to come from an age long before us. As he holds up the letter.
Not quite interested, lad.
If I can be with my height difference in a spot where he can't directly see like my face,
Yeah, I mean,
looking at James, I do like the cutting motion of no over my neck and just shaking my head.
Not quite interested, lad. I'm sorry to say.
he nods at that and kind of stands up. All right, well, I'll go try the Golden Heart then. Thank you. As he turns and starts walking off.
I look to Cinder. I don't want anything to do with those items. We already seen what happens when one breaks.
They break? That's not important. I just know old artifacts like that are never a good deal. There's always something wrong with them.
Aye, Uncle, one broke. It had a fucking demon in it.
Oh. Interesting.
James, give me a wisdom check. Oh, and also Chestophilus and Melvin also give me wisdom checks.
Word.
Oh, great.
Oh, all right. Well, Melvin, yeah, it's a good day.
That happened.
Yep. That is our first 0 of the night. I'm proud.
9. Just straight wisdom,
24.
right?
24. Yeah,
Yeah,
just straight wisdom. Yeah.
Word. Yeah, 9.
9. Okay. You, James, you immediately begin to sense two powerful sources of divine magic, seemingly that's kind of suddenly coming, flaring up in your head, giving almost a migraine as your head feels like it's beginning to split. Somewhere in this town, a being of immense power and divine magic seems to be walking about. A creature that, as you kind of almost as it's like as if you can taste it in the air as it becomes so thick. Looking about, it begins. You feel the aura begin to almost expand out amongst the entirety of the city. You also begin to notice the city's magic seems to start to shift at that. You do also notice a second source, seemingly coming from seems like a while away in the west. It's very faint, but it kind of catches your attention enough that it is still very heavy, as if there is some creature that's surrounded in divine magic itself coming this way. Um, as you begin to kind of focus in, your head kind of spinning and almost splitting as it begins to kind of feel the pressure of this magic. The rest of your party looks unfazed and unbothered.
Do you all feel that?
Feel what?
Feel that.
We're heading east, right?
Yeah, a few days east.
And the feeling of heavy divinity came from the west?
Correct. And further into the
Good.
city.
We'll talk about it once we're at the bottom. I've got a bad feeling.
James, give me a spot check real quick as you say that.
I gotta go double check my spot is.
No worries.
Should be fairly high. Yeah. It's just I was making sure I hadn't put any ranks, otherwise I would have been rolling this wrong.
You're fine.
16.
As you see, kind of as you mentioned this, your party members of Cinder Melvin looking on at you with a little bit of confusion, as they don't seem to sense anything. Chastophilus is a complete blank slate. There's not much emotion to really read there. But as you look on, you notice in the distance, it looks like a snowbeard with a long white beard with massive golden gems and little bands in it. A heavy-looking black pirate hat that, as you take a second to look, you realize is made of dragon scale and fresh from what you can tell without even an appraisa check, which also does require a will save, please, for the fear effect. Oh, wait, you're immune to fear. Right?
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Okay. Give me
But is it a spell effect?
no. This is a guy who's wearing dragon scale and has the balls to say he killed a dragon basically on his head.
Okay.
Given the fact that that's wearing dragon scale armor is almost unheard of.
26.
You do save, but the sight of this does cause a light notice of the fact that this person walking around with this is someone declaring that they are capable of slaying dragons. As even an ancient dragon would see this as a challenge if they saw you wearing something like this. The individual, the rest of his gear looks to be a heavy blackened coat with little red highlights, gemstones glittering across it that look to first seem to be normal and mundane, but then as you notice, they seem to each have a little glowing divine rune on them. As this individual seems to be followed by not only a large succubus in what looks to be bright purple glimmering armor and a massive battle axe on her back. About 15 other crew members that look to be just almost as well outfitted in magical equipment, kind of walking behind a mixed up giants and what look to be snowbeards as they seem to head towards the city. The magic aura the divine aura that you felt a moment ago, it seems to be coming from that individual, from what you can tell. I will mention
Melvin,
he also does look like Zarius, but just a lot older. Go ahead, sorry.
Melvin, can you connect to my mind for a moment?
Sure. Just start thinking.
I think about the fact that there is two big divine signatures, one west and one in the city, and that guy is one of them. Pass it along to the head of your guy, to whoever's above you, because Utham needs to know now.
So Zebril,
Yes.
as James mentioned, kind of puts this into Melvin's head, and Melvin's like, I imagine, kind of side glancing over towards what James seems to be looking at, right?
Yeah, trying to look.
Several you see because of your abilities that you have kind of cast 24/7 on yourself. A demon that looks to beyond measure with the creatures that you read about in history books tearing continents apart or stealing magic from gods and imprisoning and even supposedly eating gods. As you see this individual just standing there with a crew of normal people walking behind him, you also notice the armor on the succubus is extremely rare. It looks to be a material called oventium that is only, from your knowledge, only been seen amongst the snowbeards and on very rare artifacts that are like family heirlooms that they've kept throughout like long histories. Well, long for them. As and she is just casually walking around with this as a normal individual, a low ranked succubus at that. As you kind of take a second to glance at it, the rest of the crew seem to each also have almost as immense magic coming off of them and abilities. Though again, it seems similar to your own effect as something kind of catches your eye. A magical link, it looks like, between the captain and the other members of its crew.
Huh.
Let's head down the mountain, and then your employer can inform me of what he's thinking.
Why are you talking so jumpy like?
I'll explain when we're down the mountain and heading east.
Really interested in this. Alright. Sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the moment. That's Zebral's honest response suddenly. Yeah, Zebral, for your own knowledge, that is the individual that's noted as the strongest of the nine, and that's the one walking out and about. At least that people know about.
When I hear the "oh my god," James in his head will just hear, "Well, that doesn't sound good."
No, it's not. Let's go.
As you
Yeah,
kind of,
Zebril, in your head, Melvin goes, if they see you, you're on your own.
Melvin, that for the first time in your entire employment or joining of the Hive, this is the first time you've ever heard that the leader of this hive was willing to accept a loss like this without any such concept of vengeance, knowing that Zebril is a very kind and loving member to his hive, caring about each member extremely, almost willing to risk his own life. Almost. To the fact that he's willing to, at that, just bat a hat, let you go and die, tells you how scary what you just saw was, as you kind of take a moment to comprehend this.
Good. So down the hill we go?
Yeah, let's go.
James is starting to kind of get this stuff on the sled, start moving, everything moving forward.
James looks like he's debating throwing himself down the stairs.
Looking down the side of it, seeing if you can survive the jump fall.
Alright. Get on the sled, Snow. We're going down.
I was also thinking about using my sled.
Mm-hmm.
Is there someone selling a sled nearby? We'll just make this a little trip of sleds. Fucking.
Yeah, as you kind of grabbing up the sleds, begin to kind of tip them forward and start going down. Give me for whoever is driving the sled. Give me a second. I'm just double checking something to make sure. Let's just do we'll call it a dexterity check for it. Make it easy.
Okay, well, I want you to know the sled I'm pulling just has snow on it, so it's a leopard driving the sled.
This is more, just to see if you can manage to keep your footing as you're kind of going down and going about this whole thing.
Obviously very dexterous.
I assume Melvin wasn't going to be the one driving, but okay.
Well, I have my own separate sled.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
If I'm grabbing a sled, I guess I'm driving my own.
Okay, so we've got 3 with Cinder on his, Melvin on his.
If you want to drive mine, you can. I'll just tie myself to it.
Well, no, so DM, I'm tied to the sled, pulling the sled from the front because I have ice skates.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, and my leopard's on the sled.
Chastophilus, who are you writing down with, or are you just casting, like a feather fall on yourself and dropping down the side of the mountain?
That is a great question. I think I have an answer. Just one sec.
I'll give you a moment. All right, James, let's see what that dex is.
13.
13. All right, and then Cinder.
Things are going well.
All right. As the three of you kind of going down, let's see what Chastophilus can pull off.
Okay. Yeah, Chastophilus mutters in a language that none of you, even Melvin, know. Um, and he flies up into the air and shoots down like a rocket.
Oh, all right.
That's why my sledding was so bad. I was distracted by the badassness.
You just kind of like tilt the sled forward. Melvin kind of watching as he jumps up into the air and then just goes rocketing down as your sled suddenly catches the right tilt and starts going forward as you suddenly notice you're going down now. Okay, catching the corner roughly as you try to keep up watching the man going flying towards the ground, doing a superhero landing.
Chastophilus will in Melvin's head as he's like shooting towards the ground, just kind of like nudge, show off your magic, brother.
Melvin's in quiet contemplation. Give me a sec. Oh, there he is.
I'm thinking.
Do you have any spells for movement?
Better question is, do
movement,
you want to
no.
waste any spells for movement?
What I will do though, I would like to cast Shadow Play to shape all the shadows of the trees over top of me, so I'm like in the darkness the whole time.
As little roots that are kind of popping out of the side of the mountain, chunks of heavy rocks that seem to kind of like give a little bit of a shadow, kind of seem to darken even more behind you, James and Cinder, as Melvin vanishes like into the shadows as they seem to thicken, almost like a darkness chasing you down the mountain for a moment.
At the very least, I'm okay at sledding.
I was gonna say, both of you give me a spellcraft check to see if you recognize what this is. Given that you just saw Meatmancer and the little fear of kind of running down this, and now you're seeing a dark shadow chasing you, let's see if you recognize this as Melvin.
Well, to be fair, I didn't see shit.
That's true.
I'm just curious why there's a shadow. Although I don't know if I see it because I'm moving really fast. That's a nat 20.
Oh,
50.
Yeah. As you two manage to easily recognize Melvin's spell as you kind of rush down the side of the mountain, or in front of him, Cinder taking off kind of quicker as he kind of starts to pick up speed, vanishing around the corner and down. James kind of keeping up a decent pace as Melvin keeps up at the rear as the shadows continue to envelop him as you lot come to the bottom of the mountain. As you all kind of gather at the bottom of the mountain, we're going to take a quick second because the DM has to run to the restroom like no other, as I just downed a whole root beer. Give me a minute. Welcome back. Apologies for the quick break. We are back. Alright, as the party kind of comes to a stop at the bottom of the hill, these shadows kind of vanishing back and kind of pulling away as Melvin seems to kind of almost pull through them as they seem to try or attach themselves until last second as they begin to pull and snap back. Rocks and trees looking as if they seem to reform themselves back, though the shadows themselves being the only thing that changes as you lot kind of come to the bottom of the hill.
Thinking back to what I just saw at the top, did it feel similar to when the demon appeared in the desert?
Yes. In fact, though this creature seemed to be far stronger from the magic you got. Almost as if this creature was a world leader ahead of the one you'd met.
Oh, great. So a demon got out of one of those items. Probably that ancient one they were just trying to sell me. Fuck.
James says in Dwarvish.
we curse him now. Keep your mouth.
Uncle, you remember I told you those ancient items may have demons in them?
No, you've actually never told me anything about these items.
Cinder, as you
Top
take
tip.
a second, just realizing you didn't know there were weapons that had demons in them,
What
let
in the-
alone what weapons.
What in the dwarven god? What in the Snowbeardian gods are you talking about?
You know how I said a demon appeared out of an item when we were over in Terrasites' lands? I know I informed you of this.
Cinder looks around and looks back at him with confused eyes, thinking what the fuck is this kid talking about?
James will give him the quick rundown of there's some ancient items out there that seem to have specific alignments that have demons in them.
Okay.
And one of those demons just escaped up there.
Awesome. Our problem because
They tend to fight things that are divine. There's some other big divine thing coming from the west.
good for them. Not our problem.
It may destroy the city.
Do I need to repeat what I said?
Let's get away from here, because Utham should be able to keep the city standing, I hope. And with Zedril informed, Utham will be informed
I mean, yeah,
of what actually we just fucking witnessed.
We have a 3-day walk from the city. It's not our problem. We're going to be gone.
So, Melvin, please thank Zedril for informing Utham for us. Also, he did not get the information. You did not get the information from us, please. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news to the man. I've heard he's dealt with that enough with the unfortunate sons.
You say this all while Chastophilus, who is his fourth favorite, is standing right beside Melvin.
Yep.
You know he can hear and see everything that we do, right?
I don't know. First, James doesn't know Chastophilus well enough. 1, 2, he doesn't seem very talkative.
Hand on Melvin's shoulder. He thinks he's being smart. Just let him have his moment.
I see.
I'm doing my best, guys. Last
seem
time we
like
had to deal with
maybe
one of those demons, it nearly killed us.
You seem like maybe you should take it easy for a few days. You've looked a little worn out lately.
I had a weird nightmare the other day. It's not a great time. Let's just go.
Weird nightmares sound right down my alley.
I sent it earlier in the chat.
If you need, you can sleep on the sled while I walk.
As James kind of describes a little bit of his nightmare to Melvin. As he describes...
I'll ride on the sled as it gets pulled by Cinder.
Yeah, to the rest of you, you hear, as James kind of describes this nightmare of himself, kind of seeing this large, standing on this ground in this open field for a moment, seeing nothing but a dark red sand kind of all around and a few rocks kind of kicked about as he seemed to be walking. And suddenly seeing these large, strange twin pillars rising from the ground, one red and jagged, the other blue and seeming smooth, almost as if they look like death ore, as James kind of explains. Each seemingly having markings and designs into them, though that they don't seem to make any sense to James. Each seems to twist into each other, drawing magic from around itself, almost as if the magic from the sky itself is being sucked down into these things. At the bottom of these two pillars seems to be a cackling hag that looks to be gray of skin with fiery hair, kind of almost ablazed around her. Her look of fear, of hatred in her eyes, and insanity, as James kind of describes her. She suddenly just stops from cackling aloud as she was looking up at these pillars, turning to James, and as the birds in the background went silent, James's blood was known to go cold, as he explains that he felt as if the creature was looking directly at his soul and trying to tear it from its body. A fear that seems to almost immediately hit him, and as it seems to as those eyes lock into him, he seems to always wake up. A cold sweat around him, his holy symbol slightly glowing on his chest. Yes. Yeah.
You try sticking
Sorry,
closely with that going on.
2 months away, for reference. So.
Okay.
So most you would know about right now is the rumors of the late notes. There are notes published on some of the creatures, just not all of them. So the lesser known ones are going to be less known. What do you have
You
a
know
specific
which one?
one? Which one are you asking about?
Vitra.
Yes, I would say yes. She is. She has become very well known recently. So yeah, that would be correct.
Yeah, just hearing the fire hag thing, I'll pull out that entry from my bag.
Yeah,
I'll be
James
like,
is your.
I'll hand it to James.
Yeah, James, as you're explaining, Cinder kind of pulls out his bag, or his journal, and kind of flips to it and holds it out to you as he points to a picture of Vitra, the Ash Mother.
That one?
Does it look like the one from my vision?
Less foggy, a little bit grayer of skin. That's about as close as you're gonna get to her.
She has an alternate form, from my understanding.
Roughly that, yeah. Ugh.
It's a
That
monster.
means she's gonna cause problems.
Yeah, it's a new Apex monster that showed up. S plus danger
Maybe someone will
cost
kill it soon.
very dangerous.
From the sounds of it, she's gonna be working with red and blue lyrium in some way. Or something. Not a very good time.
Not our problem, but at least now you know who you saw.
As you kind of start to get the sleds all tied up to Cinder, one after another, in like a smooth terrain. As Snow seems to enjoy sitting at the front, kind of laying down and cuddling up. No worries. As the rest of the party, or as James, Melvin, and Chastophilus kind of gather onto the sleds, I assume as well, as Cinder prepares to start running.
Get my momentum going.
Okay. As Cinder kind of starts to get himself stretched out, warmed up, and looking over, or thinking about James's thing, or dream. James, give me a will save. Because I assume
Yes.
you're not going to willingly let something talk into your mind that you don't recognize.
The voices, they come back.
We do. You see Cinder kind of stretching himself.
Is this via
getting
a
ready.
spell?
Yes, this is a spell.
60.
Nice work.
Okay. You do succeed. You can choose to ignore whatever is being sent to you, or you can choose to hear it. However, the voice is a voice you don't recognize.
Well, Zebral's never talked in my head. There's that option there. If I allow the connection, I'm able to cut it off since I saved the
Correct.
throw. Made the save throw.
Yep.
I will let them start talking.
You hear the voice kind of go, "So you're my descendant. God, you're ugly. You're not cutting me off, though, so you must be much weaker than I am. What's your name, boy? And why do I sense my bloodline in you?"
I don't know, and I don't know.
You
Is
don't
what
know
I will
your
give
own.
you for
You
that.
don't know your own name.
I don't know what I should tell you for it because I don't give my name to those who don't give theirs first.
So you're James of the Ironheart Merchant Company, correct? Your ship's the one that's being worked on in the big dock I can see right now by these woodwalker fellas. I got one right here as he holds up, and you hear screaming and something being impaled. And he pulls away and goes, "Oh, sorry, he's a little busy right now. I shoved a stick up his ass."
What do you want?
"Oh, good, I've got your attention. So, I got a problem. I got a prophecy I know a lot about, and you're the fucking issue. Tells me that someone of my bloodline's gonna kill me, and you're the first one that popped up on my list. So I got good news. We're gonna make a nice little meeting. I'm hunting your ass down and killing you as soon as I can find you. Now, I don't know where you are. I don't know what kind of magic you're using. You must be some incredible caster to be able to hide your presence from me, or incredibly weak, but if you're my bloodline, there's no way that's possible. I can sense there's two
I'm
of you.
cutting him off right there.
as you hear two of you, and then it cuts.
Oh, buddy.
Cinder, give me a will save.
Oh, buddy. My saves are higher than Cameron's.
I know it is.
Wrong target, buddy.
Melvin, to catch you up, your party is kind of getting up on the sleds while James seems to kind of talk, looking like he's talking in his head, and Cinder, who's kind of stretching, getting ready to run with you guys on the sleds, is. Oh, good.
Is James talking in his head?
He is, and you did hear it sound like a crazy individual in the background, kind of talking, and then Zebril seemingly giving you warnings to stop listening.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, 26.
Okay. You can feel someone trying to send you almost a open like a telepathy spell towards you to speak to you. However, you have succeeded. You can choose to ignore it.
I'll hear the first thing he says. What do you want?
Wow, you must be related to me. You're actually strong.
No. Thank you. How can I help you?
I'm actually kind of concerned. I'm gonna have to. My question to you, dear man, are you a member of the Meadmancer clan?
I doubt I can succeed, but I gotta try to roll, right?
Take knowledge, history, or knowledge, religion.
Oh, my religion's better than my history. I'm surprisingly good at religion. I have a higher religion than Cameron does, which is very funny.
I don't need much in it, thank you.
31.
They're in the family history. There amongst the Frosthammers was a member of the family called a Meader. That was just Meader. They were known as a quite capable mage back in the day when the Snowbeards were first founding their kingdom. However, their last name and clan name was one of the few that was lost. Though, as you kind of think about it and thinking back on this, the name Meader, when it translates to the older Dwarvish and to modern Dwarvish, does not translate as mead maker. It translates as mead mancer, as in like a mead caster. As you kind of think about that, you realize that there's probably a relation between the Frosthammer clan and the Meadmancer clan.
So for me, it'd probably like distant relative.
Very, and it from your own knowledge, this person existed when the Snowbeards first founded their kingdom, so that would have been a while ago, like long before you were born.
Long distant relative, but technically.
You sense a pause, and then the voice continues. I'm looking for two individuals. There's twins that were born, well, twins in quotes, that are supposed to end the Meadmancers, and if that's the case, I sense that your blood is thin of mine, meaning you can't be the one who it is.
Now, twins, high magic, lyrium involved?
No, twins, as in two bearded individuals born under a similar moon who would come and end my line.
I wouldn't think to kill you, but
How would you like to make a deal before I have to destroy you?
Oh, what kind of deal?
Kill the one who follows you, your blood that I assume that's coming with you, and I'll make you more wealthy and fulfill any wish or request you have.
Can I only send words or can I send images through this link?
Only words from your understanding.
I'm gonna PM you a message I send.
James in the background is now wondering if he's going to be killed suddenly. He's got that weird itching merchant feeling at the back of his neck that suddenly someone else wants to stab him and is in that line.
That is what I send.
You hear a deep laugh and then the creature go, Is that your final decision? You would betray me for another.
Is it betrayal if I don't know who you are? I don't think so. Family cast me out anyway.
Fine. Let the hunt be enjoyed. I'll be seeing you soon, young'un. As soon as I can sense your magic and where it is, I will find it. I know you are a powerful caster if you're able to hide this kind of magic from me.
I'll meet in the elemental people's lands, and then I'll cut them off.
As you cut the link, you feel the breakaway.
The Genasi can deal with him.
As in the background, you can Cinder, I imagine the first time a light, faint smile on his lips with that, realizing hopefully that kind of tricked him. Give me a bluff check, by the way.
I wish I could guidance you or give you some
I
bonus to
assume
this.
you're not actually gonna go there, and that was completely a bluff. But
Cinder doesn't know where we're going after this.
So yeah, so fair, full bluff. All right, perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, is it a bluff if he doesn't know?
Yeah, because it is still technically alive.
Yeah, 23.
23. As you manage to kind of say this with a straight face, you hear the connection break right before the last thing that seems to almost slightly cut is interest, and it cuts. As you realize the the individual must have taken the bait. Though kind of now knowing that the Woodwalkers have been attacked between the two of you, that is something to kind of consider as you take a moment.
Hey, nephew, you got something talking in your head too?
I did. He attacked the Woodwalkers, it seems, so either Utham's about to go kick his ass.
You're not planning on going to the Genasi lands, right?
I'm planning to avoid there for as long as possible.
Oh, I told him we're going there, so...
Because Rolliman has a child there.
Yeah, well, I told them we're going there, so that's their problem now.
Oh, good.
Above, you see and hear the sounds of a ship suddenly leaving the port, and the sounds of heavy fireballs being shot off as a warship
I look
above
up.
you.
Is it my ship that I commissioned?
It is not. You do see the golden heart emblem still on it, the same one that that the rest of you had kind of seen in passing moments ago when you were up there, as it seems to head off in the direction of the Pacab lands, the Genasi lands, if you will.
Chastifus?
What the fuck was that?
Oh?
I can never pronounce.
Try again.
I'm not good at names.
Chastophilus. 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 There you go. Man, you're gonna really enjoy Roman history class, man. You really are. That's the easy name. Go ahead.
I assume Zevral can hear me. Might want to. If he can, I'd hate to bother him. I can't get a message to anyone as fast as he can. The Golden Heart Merchant Company may have been compromised by that demon.
You may have, as you see a fireball shoot off towards the entrance of the where the ship's dock in the mountain.
It's definitely compromised. I'm trying to be coy, but no point in it. A situation for a hammer. Someone should probably warn Greg, because this might come back to bite him in the ass.
Chastophilus kind of looks at you blankly for a moment, and thinking. He is a blank slate. There is no sense of emotion or even understanding with this individual as you look at him. As he seems to almost look like he is. You get the sense that he is silently contemplating, but he could also just be staring at you as if you're an idiot. As he suddenly speaks and says, "Z says he will let Greg know."
That's good. I'd rather not have a demon running rampant that's going to affect too many people that I do business with.
As you kind of say this, Chastophilus kind of just continues to stare at you. No emotion showing, no change in movement.
I'll give him a thumbs up.
You awkwardly just thumbs up, turn back to the car, the sled. James, the Chestophilus, this man is known across the world as one of the greatest merchants and heroic for taking down creatures way far beyond his power for being a merchant, captain and everything, managing to create huge, well-respected names of companies. And this is the individual you've been introduced to. Now, you are, of course, briefed by Zebril, but to believe it when you see it is a whole new thing.
The awkward things in act. Totally, you can tell.
It's totally an act. This is all him planning it. Snow kind of yawns and curls up, laying down. To Melvin, you are a magician, yes, and you follow this man.
Not so much follow, work with.
He was ordered to basically follow him around. Yeah.
I mean, it was a direct command from Zebril as well.
You feel a comprehension of understanding from Chestophilus. As he kind of cuts goes back to kind of being quiet once again. As Cinder kind of gets the bridle on, kind of clamps up the last of the metal clasp, pops his back one last time, and then immediately starts taking off as fast as he can. What's your movement speed and what's your carrying capacity? Curiosity.
My carry capacity for full, and granted that's not counting sleds assisting or anything, is about a little over 800 pounds.
Okay. I don't think anyone other than James weighs anywhere near close to that. And I think sleds are 100
I don't even weigh close to that.
150? Let me double check. Oh, your armor. That's what I'm talking about, because you got fat armor. Let's see. Sleds are only about, I'd say about 500. Oh, no, 300 pounds, because that's the same size. Yeah, so roughly that's... You're pulling 900 plus whatever, a little bit, about another 300 between, or 400, I'd assume, between the rest of your companions.
Yeah, the hope is between the sleds and once I get momentum going, it's like a train. I'll slowly speed up.
Are you casting the Ice Walk spell again on yourself?
Well, it lasts an hour, 10 minutes for me, so it's still up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As you begin kind of pulling forward, it takes a moment. Give me a strength check to see how long it takes, or how this pull goes. As you begin the strongman airplane pull that every great competitor has to pull off in his lifetime.
18.
18. As Cinder kind of begins to stick his feet in the snow, where he would normally, seems to almost crack down on the snow as if he's exerting pressure onto it. And pushing forward, he begins to kind of shove, taking one step, getting the second. As it takes him a minute, but as he starts to get going, a few steps going forward, the sleds start to flow on the snow and immediately start kicking off as Cinder begins to ice skate his way like a professional hockey player, just charging across the snowy valley. As you lot go bouncing up and down around hills, kind of avoiding the few trees that have been left after Regan Utham's recent order to clear them due to corpse disposals. As you lot begin to head through, give me, are you just going to keep going for the 3 days straight, Cinder?
I mean, literally 3 days straight? No, I'll be fucking exhausted.
Okay. I didn't know if you had a spell for that, and that's why you were, planning, because I didn't know if this was, you're doing the same thing as Sieko. No, you had something on your mind. Hoping,
if I pull it like this, because most of the working momentum for the ice skates is just kind of propelling me, so I'm not putting too much effort in once I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go until we normally camp tonight, hopefully lower it from 3 days because of how fast I move.
Okay. What's your movement speed, by the way?
With the ice skates, 340 if I'm going full space.
Okay. Yeah, as you begin to rush off, you start making a good speed, or good pace. Give me, let's call it a survival or knowledge nature to see how quickly you manage to get there for efficiency.
This is I'll give my help with this.
This is you're traveling, you're figuring out where the quick shortcuts are, areas that are going to be clear cliffs.
With a plus 14 to nature, that's a 33.
Damn. All right, what's your help action here, James? Let's see what you got.
I was just gonna give him half my bonus, so that's 34.
Nice.
Yeah, Bill.
All right.
Yeah.
As you manage to kind of focus your mind, Cinder, getting into it as you rush forward. You begin ice skating immensely fast, kind of catching easy wind as you find the trails, avoiding the cliffs and the riverbeds, kind of finding the large road and kind of being able to almost streamline along it as you do. What the fuck? That was a gold-plated fucking Tesla truck. Okay.
Nice.
Fucking amazing.
Sorry,
Wait,
I was
the
blinded.
gold-plated Tesla in the world?
That's the
Jesus
final
Christ,
boss
time warping.
douchebag.
Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's in Portland here. I'm in the ghetto. I don't know why he thinks it's smart to drive through here. All right, anyways.
That thing is gonna get fucking stolen. Not just the tires, the car.
I'm kind of tempted. I know. All right, I would never do something like that, but you know,
I doubt it's real cold. It's not worth it.
No, I know. Plus, I'm not gonna go chase a truck down. I'm too fat and old. I can't run that fast no more. But no,
You just have to wait for it to run out of batteries in about 3 hours.
Yeah, right. As you lot kind of start charging off, as Cinder is focusing on the run, he's not going to be really listening or spotting anything. He's trying to just catch the, or follow the trail. So the rest of you, give me listen and spot or search checks for those who are
Yeah.
Good.
I'm assuming my ears are just full of the noises of ice on ice and fucking snow moving as I move.
Pretty much, yeah, as you're going blasting past in the light snow, surprisingly, due to the warmer weather of a nice, comfortable 20 degrees currently, as you lot kind of head out into this snow. For those who are actively looking, search. For those who are not actively looking, spot. And then listen checks on top. 21 for listen. Alright.
And an 8 for my spot.
Okay. So far, we got 2 successes
for
on listens. Yeah, I heard you on the 20 for listen. Don't worry. You're good.
Oh.
11 for... Oh, okay. All right.
I'm glad you're all gonna hear it.
Yeah. Chestophilus, are you rolling in the background, or you just kind of enjoying the ride?
Hey, when you do search, Melvin, you have a higher bonus to search.
Not one for spot 20. All right, so everyone.
That actually was
Weak.
search. I just said the
Oh.
11 search.
Oh, okay. That makes that all right. That's good. No, okay. As the three of you kind of hear the or as you're kind of passing by the sounds of guards talking amongst themselves as you pass a patrol, mentioning something about seeing a couple of what look to be dogs popping up near the outpost. As you pass by them, you hear the sounds of what almost heavy boot prints or heavy boots kind of metallically clacking across each other, what sounds like in the forest as you continue passing by at a pretty alarmingly quick rate, as you notice they seem to be keeping up almost with Cinder, not seemingly getting closer by the sounds of it, but seemingly keeping up a similar speed deep into the forest alongside the trail. But as you all kind of look out, trying to figure out where these creatures are and what's going on, none of you manage to spot anything. Melvin, as you kind of catching this, looking specifically trying to for these creatures, you notice a glimmer of what looks to be a bit of iron-like armor in the deep into the forest for a moment that seems to glance off. Looks to be almost the size of a large giant-like creature.
I will not point at it, but kind of point it out to the rest of the crew.
As you all kind of look over, minus Cinder, who's completely focused on just trying to run through all this snow as he's ice skating at great speeds at this point, kind of fully like head down, trying to become as aerodynamic as possible as he takes the turns at top speed, kind of pausing himself as if he's in a race with someone. You get
I
this...
will also kind of tell Cinder in his head telepathically, just so that he knows he doesn't have to look.
Okay. Cinder, yeah, you're told. You hear this front in your head that there are creatures seemingly following alongside.
Are they keeping up?
Yes, from what the party could tell.
Holy shit, that's terrifying. That's-
I could give us a very short speed boost.
Not worth it. Just keep an eye on them.
All right, I'll
I
pay attention to where he kept an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to
Yes.
in like quick succession, like one round kind of thing, action after the other. I'm gonna make 2 checks. Cinder, you're level 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, those are both successes. Chastophilus starts muttering in that strange language again, and you gain the benefit of the haste spell, as well as
Oh no. Oh, we about to be blazing around corners, boys. We're gonna need some holding on here
your
for.
speed increases by 20 feet, and you can run up walls. Yeah.
Okay, so everyone needs to now give me. Oh fuck.
I am now running at 540 around.
Yeah.
Melvin's forgetting he has the telepathic link with Cinder still. Cinder
You know-
will just hear, "He is so cool."
Well, thank you.
As suddenly Cinder starts picking up pace, give me ride checks, please.
Dude, I imagine Cinder's legs
Oh
are
god damn it!
they're blurring, moving side to side in like the hockey
Oh
play,
yeah,
and
like Sonic suddenly picking up speed to break the sound barrier. You suddenly hear as there's a like clap as Cinder starts to pick up speed like an artillery crack from the similar to the dragons.
No.
Oh,
Believe it or
Melvin.
not,
Melvin can fly.
ride
He'll be
isn't
fine.
one of my things.
I only
14.
have my intelligence boost.
All right. So the bad news, right, is Melvin is gonna go flying. As the speed suddenly picks up.
Can one of us like grab him?
Well, I got bad news as well. James and Chastophilus. Chastophilus, what'd you get?
14.
You also suddenly go flying backwards as Cinder disappears around a corner.
I have good news. Snow got a 23.
Snow manages to hold on with just enough to manage to bite down onto the side of the sled as you start taking off, leaving James to tumble into the snow, getting a bit on his head on the open trail. Astophilis and Melvin to just lightly float backwards and like stand over the snow as they kind of come to a stop.
Do I even notice?
Wait, no.
Chastophilus goes, I didn't think that through.
Oh man!
If you gave us a
No.
warning, we could have tied us down.
As
I think
James wipes off some snow off his shoulders and stands back up.
This speed boost is suddenly a lot easier to pull.
Yeah, Cinder, you're in the zone, man. You're feeling the speed. This is like a fucking high at this time point. You're enjoying this as you just take off and you hear snow kind of meowing in the background.
I actually
Wait,
can't cut it off either. He's
Melvin,
just
how far
like
is your
this for a little bit.
telepathy?
I was just about to ask that.
Because I know you went, oh no, when you
No?
fell off.
Yeah,
You said that part
Wait,
aloud.
no.
Oh, you know what, Cinder, give me a listen check.
Listen to your brain. Do it.
This be his first nat one of the session, yeah.
Oh.
As you hear the sounds, as you pick up speed, you hear the sounds of Melvin shouting out no as so they get more faint as you continue on. However, you also notice the sounds of clacking metal seem to be getting faster and seemingly keeping up with you now as you start to
Okay.
hear a large crowd to your right.
That's what I care about. They're chasing me, right?
It doesn't seem that they're chasing you. It seems because they're not getting closer by what you can tell. They seem to be keeping a steady, almost 50 to 60 feet away from you, deep into
As
the
long as
jungle.
none of them break off, I'm gonna keep going so they keep running with me to stay
Okay.
away from the party.
All right. As Melvin, as you shout out no, kind of seeing Cinder for a second, you're sure his eye looks back at you and seem to like recognize that you guys had fallen off. He disappears around the corner.
I look back, I look towards where I hear the noises from, and I just nod towards the noises and keep going.
As they vanish, or as he vanishes with Snow and the three sleds, leaving you three on the trail, or on a trail. It's about a 50-foot wide road that's slightly just got a little bit of snow on it, as well as what now looks like a sled line kind of going off as further into the road itself.
Well, let's start walking then. Or walking for me, floating for you two.
I'm going to mutter something and begin to fly.
Alright. How high up are you flying off the ground?
Just like 10 feet, but I want to move faster.
Okay.
Forward.
Alright, yeah, as you fly up 10 feet off the ground, kind of floating roughly around where Melvin normally keeps himself up off of when he's in his normal, or his traditional form, which, Melvin, at this point, you're traveling around as a snowbeard still, right? Or are you in your kobold form?
I believe I was in the kobold form.
Okay. Yeah, as you kind of see, or as Chastophilus begins to float up into the air and begins to fly, kind of at a decent speed as he starts keeping up and kind of cutting over the heavy forests and trees as he kind of climbs over it instead of going around following the trail. As it's not hard to follow the trail of the very big thing of snow cloud that's picking up where Cinder's speed is leaving behind, as he vanishes around every corner. All right, as Melvin and James kind of start heading after the three of you begin to your march. After about another 4 or 5 hours of walking, flying, floating, and running, Cinder, as you come to a stop as the sun starts to set and it's starting to get dark, you find that there looks to be a couple of rest spots where some camps have been set up previously, some clear fire pits dug out, logs set up around, and what looks to be a canopy kind of cleared out to allow for resting spots where the snow won't pile up. As you find yourself finally, kind of after running almost for 8 hours straight, feeling the exhaustion beginning to hit you as you begin to slow down. At this point, I assume the spell long since stopped.
Yeah.
So, as you come to a rest, the sounds of the metal kind of long since in the distance vanished. As you find yourself kind of alone looking back, you don't see any of your teammates. Except for Snow, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my snow shovel to start prepping the area for camp. I'll set up my setup, my tent stuff.
All right. As you begin kind of getting yourself set up, give me a survival check while you set up camp.
Thank God of a high mod. 14.
I mean, it takes you a bit of work. You dig a shovel around, clearing out an area, getting yourself a latrine spot set up, close enough that's not gonna be out in the middle of the woods fighting bears with, but far enough to get the smell away from you. Kind of clearing out the snow, getting the fire pit ready, and getting your food set up to cook while you begin. You get your camp kind of set up and squared away as your tent's pulled out. Looking at your tent with a smile as Snow goes and crawls in it as you look over at the snow and find yourself a nice cold snow spot to sit in. As you begin to relax and enjoy yourself, Melvin, Chastophilus, and James, while Cinder is almost about half a day to roughly almost about eight more hours away from the outpost, and the only person with the map, as he's the one who got it marked on his map. You lot are roughly about a day behind him in speed, finding yourselves on the side of the road, finding a rest spot. James and Melvin, as I imagine Chastophilus is still flying in the air at this point as he's continued kind of going on. But you do see that there is a camp area that's set up aside, similarly to what Cinder sees. A large, almost canopy of heavy trees set up over an area that's been cleared out of snow. A couple of logs set up, a rocky center area to put a fire pit into. Some areas to set up a easy tent and to knock pegs into the ground, as you see the dirt being kind of softer. You haven't seen Cinder and for pretty much the whole day at this point. What would you like to do? James, Melvin.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is time to set up camp, I guess. We're way too far behind to catch up easily, so we'll set up camp here.
As James begins to pull his stuff out. Go ahead, Chestophilus. Oh. He remuted. Never mind. Yeah, as James begins to or takes out his tent, gets his bedroll set up, and begins working. Give me a survival check, James. Melvin, are you gonna make camp with James, or are you just gonna continue on?
Yeah. Are there any like cave kind of areas nearby?
Give me a search check, or a
Cool.
or a knowledge geography.
Don't got that one.
24
So I'll just
survival.
do search.
Okay. Alright. See what Melvin can do. 23. Yeah, Melvin, as you kind of take a second, at this bend in the road, you seem to be close to what you believe is one of these smaller mountains. As you kind of go looking into the forest, it's about a half an hour's walk from the camp, but as you kind of head through, you do notice a rocky outcrop that seems to have a long cave that comes to an end about 50 feet into it and seems to be about 60 feet wide overall, with no creatures inside of it.
Does it look like there have been creatures inside of it?
Give me a survival check or knowledge nature.
Um, 18.
19, nice. As you kind of look in there, you do notice some scratches along the walls. As you kind of take a second, they look to be almost like dog paw marks. Like almost like wolves that have been scratching into the walls to mark their territory. Kind of looking inside, there's a few bones on the ground that look to be crushed up, and as you kind of inspect them, you notice the clear signs of the large canines, as well as some of the bones being charred as you look about.
So kind of like the things that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How far does telepathy go?
And I say you've been walking for about a half an hour at your normal floating speed. So, roughly 30, I think you have, 30 feet of floating speed? Or do you have 60? I can never remember.
20.
20?
But I think, would have had the thing from Chestophilus still.
Yeah, that's true. So, roughly, you would be about 1,000 feet in.
So too far, then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I still have a plan here.
As Melvin looks a little bit more nervous at the cave.
I don't know why I'm trying to look for it instead of just searching it on this page here.
I feel that.
Oh, it might not be a... How far can Animal Messenger go?
I don't think there is a...
Give me a second.
I don't think there's a distance. I think technically... Oh, its range is 25 feet plus 5 feet divided by 2 per level. So.
That's
Oh.
just to get the initial animal messenger, though.
Mm,
I'm
no, that's literally to compel the animal to go, yeah, to the place you want. So. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So it looks like the range is not very far, unfortunately.
Balls. Okay. Well, I'll start flying back that way then.
Okay. Um,
I'm gonna stay high.
as you float up into the air, as up another 20 feet, and then kind of go up another 20 feet to kind of get around the tree line to avoid anything catching you. You begin to float through as you do. Give me a search check as you kind of nervously watch amongst the trees to see if anything's watching you or following you.
Ooh, nat 20, 26.
As you look down, Melvin, you see almost 20 at first, pair or 20 eyes kind of looking up at you, glowing with red as they look up from the darkened forest. It seems to almost get darker as the night goes on. As you kind of head back towards James, they seem to all be mostly conglomerated around the forested edge of towards that cave you just walked or you just floated away from.
In my head, not out loud, just going, shit, 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 shit.
Well, as you kind of watch as the eyes suddenly disappear, the last thing you hear as you kind of turn and begin to make a bit more haste towards James is a loud howl as the darkened skies kind of seem to almost close up, the moonlight vanishing above as it does so.
Okay.
As
Do
you
I hear this howl?
You do, James. My question, though, before we get to that, Chastophilus, are you going to continue on till you find Cinder, or will you turn back when you notice James and Melvin are setting up camp?
I'll turn back.
Okay. Yeah, as James, as you're kind of setting up camp, Chastophilus kind of seems to come down as you hear the sounds of the wolf howling in the distance.
Does it sound like normal? Because I know the Arctic mains around here. Does it sound like one of them, or would it sound different?
Give me a knowledge nature. See if you can recognize the difference. Or survival check. I'll take either.
I will go survival. 23. I've been attacked by Arctic mains. I also own one. Argument to be
These
made.
do not sound like Arctic mains. It sounds deeper, and the creature sounds much larger. As you hear the sound of the howling, it almost reminds you of that one Arctic main you had seen so many years ago that had tried to once turn itself into a massive creature. Way back when you'd first started out adventuring amongst the city of Nighton.
Old Beardy, your soul still haunts these lands.
James quietly says, muttering as Chastophilus comes to a landing, seeing the camp kind of being set up, the little fire already starting to roar.
Making a light joke to himself as, I know that's probably not Old Beardy. The Hellhounds might be nearby. Great. I have nothing to build fortifications with. Fuck.
As you look around at the few trees that are mostly made of ice and solid, kind of looking about, there's not many branches on the ground that aren't just solid chunks of snow or ice at this point. Also, James, as the moon above seems to have disappeared behind the clouds, and the sun seems to have just dipped beneath the horizon as it seems to get darker almost unnaturally. A pitch blackness almost seems to expand out everywhere around you as you look about. For those who don't have dark vision, it is almost impossible to see around you now.
Hello, I have dark vision.
I will say at the center of James's camp, though, a dim light is cast, so low light vision seems to work around as Melvin kind of makes his way back, floating down from the tree line as he does so. Hey,
We got a
quiet.
problem.
Yeah, the ice, not ice. The wolves, the hellhounds.
Yeah, I found their cave.
God damn it! All right.
And the distant Cinder is currently going around his little camp like any good druid knows, and basically marking his territory to make sure that it is as abundantly clear that these creatures should not come into his area.
Look, man, I'm a full ice guy going on here. I'm their worst opponent. This is my land.
But as Cinder hears in the distance a howling of a wolf, kind of as he kind of snuggles into the snow. Okay. As we jump back over to James and Melvin and Chastophilus. As Melvin mentions this, James, as you respond, kind of looking back into the forest, it almost feels like something's watching you. But as you look about, there's nothing there.
Well, shit.
James just calmly looking about the dark forest, noticing no guards anywhere nearby.
I have a spell I can cast that'll definitely give a bit more light near me, but I'd rather not glow like a goddamn beacon right now.
The sounds of the howling continues as in the
So,
distance these sounds of snow kind of scuffles up for a moment, and then a howl
yeah.
begins once more as you hear a creature scream as if it was screaming bloody murder. Each of you recognize this as what the sound of a rabbit-like creature kind of from these lands. Not uncommon to hear in the distance, but it's eerie the same as you hear like almost a human-like cry of pain and terror as it is the creature's quickly silenced.
Do the howls seem to be getting closer to us?
Give me a listen check.
Can I do that too?
Yes, go ahead. 21. 15. Both of you listen in, the howls seem to be not getting closer, but they seem to be definitely circling, as it sounds like the creatures have now moved more westward. Still keeping a similar distance, Melvin, to what you reckon it went from where you heard the howl earlier, as well as James. The creatures don't seem to be getting anywhere closer, but what does kind of catch your attention is the sounds of the pack moving about seems to be lessened now. It's almost as if like half of them don't seem to be there.
We lost half of them.
That's concerning. Hey, Melvin, you're good with traps, correct?
I can make traps.
I have some that I think you should set up or tinker with, if you please. I will hand him the 5 bear traps and the 10 snares. Set them up as you feel necessary.
As you look at these, Melvin, as he sets them down, these snares are just simple wires that look to be designed simply to catch like rabbits and such around the neck when they're like biting down on food, or to catch them by the feet when they're trying to run away. The bear traps, as you notice, though, look to have this silver-like teeth to them, each seemingly jagged and having little runes carved into them by the creator of them. The rest of the thing looks to be a normal pressure plate system, as if the creature steps on it, the jaws lock. As you kind of test it, it manages to clamp through a stick or a pretty thick or small tree that you manage to kind of bring over as it clean cuts right through it. Kind of taking a second, you're pretty sure this thing can chop the foot off of a grizzly bear.
Good. I will start setting them up.
All right. I'm trying to remember what the. Just give me a minute. I know there's a rule for it. It's not set trap, sadly. That'd be a little too easy. Is it profession trap maker or is it craft trap?
I have craft trap making.
Yeah, we'll just use that for the roll. Let's see how well you manage to set these up. Yep. Let's do one roll for that to see how you manage to set them up. And I assume you're just kind of dotting around the edge of the camp.
Yes.
Okay. Away from wherever James, the only person who has to actually walk, would be.
And
As Melvin kind of walks over towards the thing, kind of getting to set them up, he kind of pushes them down. It takes him a few minutes to get the traps to seem to set, as you realize Melvin's not strong. He's like, as a wizard, this tiny kobold, like one hand clamped on the one side of the mouth or the trap, one on the other, and like is pulling with all his might. It takes him a few seconds as he puts it down. As he gets them all kind of set up, finally setting the last one, you hear as one of them goes off immediately, and you just hear Melvin's an annoyance from Melvin as he has to walk over and set that one back up as it accidentally sets itself off. But after a few moments,
I swear to God.
I give a small sigh of relief that I didn't just hear Melvin end himself on accident with a bear trap.
Very close.
Melvin kind of seems to pick up on what you're thinking and nods and looks over at you saying that. So he goes over and opens it and sets it back down. But as you two kind of set up camp,
probably set up watches.
You watch as Chestophilis kind of sits down on one of the logs, and then just his head droops, and the body just seems to like lean forward and stop moving.
Well, if it's anything like when you go for a rest with him, if there's danger, he'll suddenly sprint out of here.
You may also hear a lot of screaming from where he's resting from. Apparently, that's just the thing that happens.
That only seems to happen behind closed doors, I noticed.
In the distance, you hear a sudden shriek and scream as another rabbit-like creature is caught.
He's sleeping well.
As you two begin to kind of set, who's taking first watch, out of curiosity?
I can.
Okay.
Alright.
As
We're
Melvin...
gonna have to alternate anyways.
Yeah, as Melvin kind of offers to take first watch, are you just going to break up into 4-hour stints? Or what's the plan? There's only the two of you, so... How paranoid you feeling?
We could do 2-hour stints, that way we each technically wouldn't be heavily active for more than 2 hours at a time.
Still counts as a short rest, though.
Still, it's better than not having a rest at all.
True. Go ahead, Melvin.
Melvin will do 6 hours because he feels James needs to rest, and then he'll sleep the last 2.
Okay. Alright, as Melvin takes first watch, kind of letting James go and curl up. James, as you begin to lay down, give me a wisdom check.
I'm just going to kind of like float up in sentry above the camp.
Alright, and Melvin, I was going to say, Melvin, give me a search and listen while you're kind of sentry checking.
8.
Okay.
God damn it.
Gotcha. Let's see what Melvin manages to pull here.
That's a listen.
Damn, okay. The sounds of the screams of rabbits is going to be plentiful tonight in Melvin's ears. Or holes.
And that's search.
It's hard, Melvin, as you kind of float up above the tree line, kind of looking about the crystal-like trees, seem to glimmer even in the darkened light off the snow on the ground, kind of catching your eye as it's almost a beautiful light show, as well as above you. Even with the darkened clouds, an almost deep aurora borealis-like sky has seemingly begun to flow as beautiful lights kind of flow past these black and heavy clouds.
I also, as I start the night, am going to pull out my alarm scroll, and I
Okay.
would like to set an audible alarm.
Okay. Oh.
So it'd be a 20-foot radius around the camp.
Okay. And you're just kind of okay, got you. And this is to go off in case any I believe it's good. Is it good?
Looking at it here.
Each time a tiny or large creature enter. Oh, it's any creature enters the word. A creature that speak. Oh, only if the creature speaks a worded password. Okay. All right. What's the password that you're going to set with this? And will this be mental or audible? Out of curiosity.
It's going to be audible.
Okay.
And I would tell both James and Chestiphilus, if he hears, be like, the password is banana bread. Incredibly random, I know, but that's the point. They'll never get it.
James, as you hear this,
They can
this
hear...
royal meal that is only reserved for the most highest of authority and noble figures. The fact that Melvin knows what this is and like is speaking on it really means that he must be a foodie or he must have a better background than you thought. Yes, that one I will say that was. But as you mentioned this, kind of saying this out loud, the spell kind of goes over the entirety of the encampment, spreading out as it does a light glow and then dissipates kind of as it stays active.
Well, alright, just a reminder that if they hear you and can understand you, they might now know the password.
I said it in your head.
Okay, perfect.
As you look up, James, at the floating kobold. Curling up. I mean, it's dark.
I'm just gonna give a slow blink, curl up, and go to bed.
As you lay back in, Melvin, you hear these sounds of screaming kind of continue for a little bit, but we'll come back to you in a moment as we do. Cinder, as we jump over to you, don't worry, James, I haven't forgotten about your soul save yet, or wisdom check. Cinder, as we jump over to you, as you sit or kind of lay in your snow, the little fire really only going to let snow kind of curl up next to it and relax with the warmth from the long and cold day and the hard snow hitting the poor cat in the face the entire way. As you kind of enjoy yourself, give me a listen check as you sit back into the snow, really getting yourself all comfortable as you create a nice chair to sit in.
Do you want one from me and Snow?
Yeah,
or...
that would work.
Okay, this is from me. That's games improvement. Well, it's a 19.
19, okay. And then for Snow?
He has a +6. He could have. Nope.
Okay. As you, the sounds of heavy, almost clacking, as you hear heavy paws, and creatures kind of, breathing very almost like as if they're panting through the air. The sounds of the heavy breathing from these creatures kind of coming by as they seem to be rushing past. You hear the sounds of around what sounds like almost 10 or so of these warhound-like creatures, kind of, or warhound or wolves, from what you can tell, as it's hard to tell what the specifics are. Kind of seemingly keeping a pretty decent perimeter around you, but as you listen in, you start to notice you're being slowly surrounded at about a 60-foot radius. The creatures seemingly avoiding the road on the side and keeping to the forest on either side of you.
Well, I'm gonna make these creatures not want to be here in a second. Let me find this. I'm gonna activate the Cloak of Winter's Chill.
Oh, what's that?
It's a class feature. There are abilities that don't matter, but what I want is the cosmetic ability. I start generating a frosty aura and letting off like a winter wind off of me.
Oh, okay.
I want these things to know I am an ice creature and I will swing, and I know you're fire based.
Give me a second. Um. Oh, bad. That's bad. Okay. As you turn into this, trying to kind of almost like giving off these, trying to give off the sense of a predator, recognizing a creature trying to attack it. A lion being surrounded by hyenas, if you will, or a bear being hunted by a pack of wolves. You begin to kind of flare up your magic, beginning to give off the frosty wind. You feel and can see the cold kind of bellowing through the trees as the sounds of the wind screams through the heavy ice trees. The hounds seem to, as you kind of listen in, for a moment pause, and it almost goes absolutely silent, eerily so, as you hear a loud howl, and then the creatures start to begin to what sounds like distance themselves, scattering away. A few moments go by, and nothing seems to be heard as the creatures seem to have dissipated. The
How
howling
far
seemed to
away?
have stopped.
How far away is the howl sound like it's from? It's
Uh,
like far distance. Or
at At first, the first one you hear sounds about 60 or so feet away. The second one that seems to immediately follow, you recognize about is 30 feet away from you, across, roughly right behind you, it sounds like, as if there's a creature seemingly willing to get closer.
I'll turn and stare at it.
As you turn back, you see a huge black furred with green stripes kind of going along its back, and a yellow bellied, large, huge, a warhound like creature as its mouth drips with a mixture of this greenish red liquid that seems to drop down for a moment, and you see some of the leaves it touch burn. The creature seems to howl up into the air as they begin to retreat back into the forest.
I'm staring down this creature until it leaves.
It seems to be one of the first to fall back as soon as it takes a moment to stare at you and then howl, and then seems to fall back into the forest, disappearing into the shadows.
Well, as long as I know it's gone, I'll go back to what I was doing. I think the cloak ends after like 6 rounds or so.
Hello? As you begin to kind of watch, are you going to stay on watch, or are you going to go ahead and pass out immediately, leaving Snow to kind of stay on the search and listen? Or
I'll let
spot
Snow take first watch, but I will set up. I have the snare spell, so I'll
Okay.
set up a couple of snares.
Okay.
Specifically the direction they ran off from, so if they come from the same direction.
Okay. Got you. As you begin to kind of like scatter them about, kind of hiding them underneath the snow, moving a couple branches and trees out of the way, as you kind of go about your business, eventually kind of finding yourself back to your little seat as you kind of begin to close your eyes and relax. Have Snow give me a spot and listen check for the watch. And how long are you going to have Snow stay awake? You doing the full 8 hours? Or you doing just 7 hours and then taking the hour of downtime?
7 an hour, because I think even if Snow's tired tomorrow, I'll just let them sleep on the sled while we walk.
Okay.
So that should be fine.
Gotcha. Alright, yep.
Alright, start with a listen. Man, Snow is not...
Okay. Not going well tonight, nope.
Not at all, man.
8. Okay. As you kind of begin to set in and relax for the night, we jump back over to the other party for a moment. James, as you begin to kind of twist and turn in your dreams, you begin to find yourself once again harried by a strange dream. Seeing this horrible nightmare of a hag again coming at you, it seems to dissipate though after a moment, as normally you find yourself awakening the creature, or after the creature stared into your soul. You suddenly find yourself kind of slightly in a different room, almost a very nice wooden and stone room. It's your room from when you grew up. As you look about, recognizing your desk and a few other knickknacks about the room, your journals, your small book collection, a couple of small figures that you were able to purchase off of craftsmen and their travels. As you look about for a moment, seeing all these things, suddenly you feel something, and then see something open a door, or the door to your room, and in walks what looks like your mother. though her eyes are brightly red, and she looks at you and smiles and goes, "Oh, honey, please rest. Enjoy. You were just awoken from a nap. You were supposed to enjoy yourself today. We're celebrating your adventure. You're getting ready to leave."
Does this feel right?
Give me a sense motive.
Hold on.
Men's taking notes in the Discord.
I'm making notes. This shit needs made notes of. 19?
Well, your mother doesn't have red eyes. Big red
Yeah,
flag
no.
right there that you just immediately catch on to. Also, you don't remember being in your armor, carrying your weapon, having your holy symbol on you, or seeing Melvin floating in the center of your room as if you're not there. As you look up at a ceiling that suddenly vanishes and you see a night sky, but yet as you look around, you still see your room.
I'm just gonna shake my head. I'm not speaking to this being.
Your mother looks at you again and goes, "Oh, cat got your tongue? Oh, here." And as they snap their finger, give me a will save.
Is this a spell?
This is a spell. This is mind affecting if you're curious.
Well, no, dwarves get a bonus against spells.
True.
I was making sure I had the number right. 26!
26. You, as you kind of take a second, looking about this whole situation, your mind kind of clears and you feel a pull on it. You feel something as if a warm feeling kind of pull over you for a moment, and then it seems to vanish and wash away just as quickly as you kind of clear your head, recognizing a spell being cast on you. The spell-like effect of a charm person, as if it was just cast on you. Your mother looks up at you again, her eyes kind of glowing, still red, and smiles and goes, "Dearie, why don't you want to talk to me? I'm your mother." Okay, I give up. As the form changes and transforms into Jakix, as he pulls out his staff and goes, "God, you try to make a joke and, no one wants to listen to you. You know how hard it is to pull someone out of a nightmare and not have their mind bend?" Oh, God, as he sits down and floats over a cup of tea that seems to float from one of your personal porcelain sets from your room. Pours in a tea that wasn't there. It seems to be steaming hot and starts to drink it and takes a sip. Kind of looks up at you as he puts the cup back down and goes, "So, James, I've got good news. Face, well, the one you know as Face, is now dead. Thank you for that, by the way. It was quite a interesting fight. I didn't think I'd actually win that, to be honest. But I've come to you to fulfill the other portion of my request, kind of. I was supposed to provide this, but his mind seems to be resisting me, or something seems to be resisting me. So your uncle doesn't seem capable. Can you let him know I have fulfilled my end of the bargain in our dealings and have information for him whenever he's ready to receive it? I don't sense him near you. However, I do sense Zebral's puppet nearby."
I'll nod. Not fully trusting Dreamscape stuff. There's been too many weird things happening lately.
Listen, I can warn. I'm just trying to pass on the information. It's not like I'm trying to make a pact with you, whatever. Also, your mind, it's being eaten away at by a creature. There's something nagging at you. As if it's tampering with. My connection to you seems to be seems to be weakened by this. I don't know what it is, but something seems to have it out for you. You should probably get that looked at. I do recommend. So he kind of takes a second, and you see, he kind of looks over at a corner of the room where you see this like blackened ball of what looks to be fur. But as you see it, James, you feel fear kind of almost overcome you, as if this creature seems almost prepared to eat and devour everything you care about. And as you kind of feel suddenly an emotion, almost as if as you look at it, seeing Rolman torn from you, seeing Cinder torn from you, seeing your company torn apart and disassembled, leaving you with nothing but as a despot and alone. You kind of see all this for a moment as you kind of clear your head and look back over to Jakix. He looks on at you kind of worriedly, slightly, and then smiles again and goes, I think you should get that checked out.
I don't know a good enough therapist for that.
I don't know what this therapist thing is, but I can imagine that they'll need a powerful magician at that. I do come with other minor news. I assume you've already been cleared on the factor that a being of great power has been unleashed onto this world. It seems to be close at hand. I do have good news on that. I hope this will better our interest between the two of us at that with this. He's not after you, thankfully. What he's after is, it seems, your dear cousin, the one that's capable of using or devouring magic of others.
Yes, although the being did threaten me.
Yeah, well, I should warn, you're not the target, but you're easily mistaken, as it seems your abilities are still locked behind you. Something with your bloodline seems to be drawing these beasts. I'd watch yourself. Also, this hero title doesn't suit you, as he kind of starts to dissipate, the tea vanishing and the room kind of dissipating as you feel yourself.
Don't I fucking know it.
As you say this, kind of taking a little, pulling out one of the chairs as the room goes back to normal, seeing your actual room and feeling the calm dream almost come over you as you find yourself relaxing once again. As your mind kind of seems to clear itself and you begin to sleep. Melvin, as you look down, it looks as if James seems to be twisting and turning left and right in his sleep. He looks as if he's having another nightmare as you kind of listen and hearing little word snippets, something about Jakix, something about a hag. Last thing that you kind of catch is not the spoon, as he seems to calm and kind of roll over and go back to sleep. Go back to a peaceful sleep. Never forget the bucket. No.
Oh, he goes back to being peaceful sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I won't bother him.
Okay. As you continue watching through the night between you and Snow on either side as the night carries on, the next day comes as roughly around when the sun begins to peak. 6 hours has passed of pure just darkness as you watch and listen in, nothing seemingly coming closer throughout the night to either camp. As you kind of Snow waking up Cinder around roughly 4 in the morning. Melvin kind of heading down to wake up James around the same time. James and Melvin, we'll start with the two of you real quick. As you come down, Melvin, night had been, other than the minor screaming of rabbits in the distance, nothing else seems to kind of gone off throughout the entirety of the night. The sounds of the howling wolves seem to have dissipated with time. The sounds of their tracks, or their heavy running, kind of dissipating completely into the distance. Almost as if nothing kind of seems to have stuck around after a while. As the rest of the night seems to go peacefully.
Did you get good rest?
As good as I could get. James will say as he sits up.
James, as you sit up and look about, across from you and sitting on the log, you see a copper bucket. This is not the bronze bucket.
I look it over.
Give me an appraise check. As Melvin,
this has to do with metal.
James just kind of seems to lock eyes across the camp at something as you kind of look over. There's nothing there, as James just seems to stare at this, like something, like eyes focused hard on it.
That can't be good.
It's a nat 1.
James, It's the bucket. It has to be. It's orange. It's the same color. It's just a copper variation. It's perfect. It has to be the
I'm
real
throwing
bucket.
a
Yeah.
rock at it.
As you kind of go to pick up
Throwing a
some,
rock at it.
yeah, as you go to pick up a rock, give me a d20 plus your base attack. As Melvin, you just see James kind of like sitting up, kind of leans over into the snow, kind of moves his hand about, picking up a rock and chucks it at a tree that's like 20 feet to the right of where he's looking, and as it smacks, the snow kind of smacks against the tree, the rock in the center of it collapsing, colliding with it, kind of clattering down to the ground as you look on.
The almighty fear wizard just has a look of terror on his face.
As James, you look on, the bucket's there, but your rock and snowball goes right through it. But
Wait, I
it's
see
there.
the rock and snow go straight through it.
Yes, from your vision, but it's there. You know that has to be the bucket.
No, it can't be there because the bucket's material. That's immaterial. I'm leaving. That's a curse.
As James
That's a
just
problem.
changes his look of like interest to concern, Melvin, as he continues to stare at nothing. As you look on in horror, concern yourself.
Packing up camp, ignoring that bucket. That is a curse. The cursed bucket.
Yeah, as James seems to stand up and starts like packing up the tent without even saying anything to you, Melvin, just kind of getting up, grabbing things, seemingly kind of like looking over towards this like where this log is kind of sat there. Nothing there, as he just keeps looking over it with concern and worry, and like seems to kind of take a few steps away from it every time he looks.
I'm just gonna go over towards where he's looking and sit down on the log.
As you do, James, you see as Melvin disappears into the bucket.
Melvin, no!
Melvin, as you look at James, just seems to shout out at you, looking at you as if like looking at this log, but not seeing you.
No what?
God, you become a ghost. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
The bucket
Is it
begins
possible
to
for a
talk.
hive mind being? Is it possible for a hive mind being to become a ghost? I don't know.
I just think to Zebril, this guy's losing it.
You hear in your head a response back. I agree, but this makes a great show.
I think we need to find Cinder.
As we cut over to the distance to Cinder. Cinder, as you kind of find Snoke nudging you awake, as he curls up onto your lap and begins to fall asleep as he yawns and basically leans over and just completely starts snoring. You find yourself kind of wide awake as you look about. Looking down at the ground, you can see clear signs of tracks of where creatures seem to have come up to the camp, sniffed around the fire, and then walked off while you were asleep, though nothing seems disturbed as you look about. Your snares, as you look over, one of them seems to have caught a small, what looks to be just normal hare. That seems to be kind of like kicking at the air, but seems to be stuck as its leg is caught.
Ah, breakfast.
As you walk over, kind of grabbing the creature up and kind of getting it ready, looking about. As you do, you see as suddenly the individual with a red coat kind of appears in the thick snow on the trail, kind of standing there in the distance. So as you look over at recognizing Jakik Cinder, Snow does not seem to respond or even awaken, which is quite strange. As she? I don't think we ever determined that. He? I think.
They're a he.
Okay, yeah. He usually responds to any creature or individual coming up, even if it is a quick way, like eyes open, kind of flutter for a moment, and then kind of closing right after. So as you kind of look over, it looks like Snow seems to still be sleeping as you kind of stand there, hair in hand, looking over at Jakix.
You're in time for breakfast. Go on, have a seat.
Well, this is a dream, so I think I don't know how you're managing that. He kind of raises an eyebrow. Do you normally just dream about where you're at? This is quite. He looks about strange.
Have you not looked into my mind at all?
So he kind of comes to sit down and looks at you and goes, "Well, not as much as you're probably thinking. I try not to delve into learning things about people as that can have undoubtedly bad things happen to you. You learn God's true name once by accident, and you just learn not to go digging through people's minds when you don't know them."
I'm a PTSD-riddled, paranoid snowbeard. Of course my thoughts are just where I am and if I'm going to get attacked or not.
Understandable. As you kind of start prepping the rabbit, working away, getting it ready at the fire. He kind of looks over at you and smiles and goes, "I will say your nephew is much easier to break the mind of. He is still he's currently freaking out about a copper bucket I put in as a little gift for him to kind of keep them from getting themselves killed this morning. I don't think they realized how close they were to death only a few moments up the road."
You know, the fact that his mind isn't as strong as what I've been through makes me incredibly sad.
Think of it this way: complex and twisted minds are harder to crack than those who haven't dealt with things. Although, your nephew, did you know he fought the Golden Heart, or the Golden City? I saw him. In his mind, he sees himself valiantly charging and attacking the thing with some glowing light thing. I couldn't tell what the object was, but he's very full of himself.
Most are. They grow out of it.
I don't know. I've been around for a few thousand years myself, and I still haven't. He kind of sits down, really warming his hands by the fire. He looks up and kind of smiles at you and goes, "About the information you're looking for. So I've got good news and bad news for you. The good news is I figured out how to get in there, and I was able to get what I was looking for. Of course, if you don't mind, I'll keep that little bit of information to myself. But the rest of the info I think might be of use to you. It looks like your family's got a unique bloodline to them. I look
at the horn on my head, and I just look at him like, yeah, no shit.
Your family descends from demons, it turns out, and you have a background of two very known demons. One of which you're probably very familiar with, goes by the name of Alfred Stone. Very lesser demon, but not quite as strong.
Is the other one a mancer of some kind?
Yes, actually. The famous Meadmancer family of the Clouded Age. One of their founding member, as well as their most powerful member, is supposedly an ancient relative of yours. Although I say ancient, you've got like 0.000, like it's thousands of zeros before 1% pops up on that. Like it's apparently enough though. It gives divine abilities, godlike powers. Surprised your family hasn't seen more saints.
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole, but I respect it.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that individual is what the Dragon Pits are looking into, it looks like. They seem to have an interest in your bloodline and seem to have been part of why Uthgarum has sold off the entirety of the clan. Also, your family wasn't led under Sarazeki. They were convinced by King Vovasi, if they led, that they would be given a free right to rule their territory for the rest of their dynasty's lifetime on the throne. Movasi set that whole situation up to get the clan to fall. Apparently, the leading to Sarazeki just was good news. As he kind of sits down, looking at the rabbit and kind of thinking for a second, and kind of thinking better of it as he continues.
They won't have to look into the bloodline for long. He's back himself.
Yeah, that's the other bits of news I found. Looks like what Muvasi and the other Dragon Pit are looking for is to capture either James or the Eider fella, which I've got my own interest in that. But looks like the two of them have the most amounts of this blood and the most capable. Theory seems to be that they're curious on what allowed these creatures to steal powers from the gods. It seems the dragons have an interest in doing something similar. I don't think they're going to get far, but the research I've seen so far dictates that James, your nephew here, be a key to that. Which also makes me wonder, I mean, just a side question between me and you. Would you be willing to sell James to me?
You know I can't do that.
Hey, the offer still stands. Um, he kind of smiles at that, but with that, I figured I'd give you a pass on my information I found. There's a little bit more on Deathor and something about my own family, but it doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. I did find some paperwork that I'm having sent your way. A diary from one of the researchers of your specific cell that I didn't touch as it was locked. I found a key and it will be included. Enjoy and let me know if it's anything of value. As he kind of smiles. Oh, also the trick to the bucket. Just shout banana bread and suddenly James won't see it anymore.
If it stops being funny, I'll do that.
He kind of nods at that and pats his knees for a second, wiping off a little bit of snow as he stands up and walks away, disappearing around the bank. As you find yourself suddenly waking up with snow looking at you, kind of licking your face as they do so.
I'm up, buddy. Is there anything in the snares now that I'm actually awake?
There is not, sadly.
Damn.
As you look about, but as you kind of find yourself awoken, are you going to be heading back up towards the party?
Well, first I'm gonna have some of my smoked Smilodon meat that
That's
I've
fair.
been carrying.
Yeah, kind of enjoying your rations. Yep.
No, I'm gonna wait here because that's why I did the giant cyanide PMD so they could find me.
Okay. As you kind of enjoy yourself digging into the camp more, kind of getting yourself more set up, you begin to relax. All right. James and Melvin and Chestophilus, as James finishes up clearing up the camp, James, every time you look somewhere else, it's almost as if the copper bucket follows your eyes. Out of the side glance of your view, you always see this bucket.
The corner of my eye, the bucket is there.
And I almost
James
as
is
if it block. It even seems to block people for that reference. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
As soon as camp's packed up, James is taking off.
All right, as James kind of packs up, not even letting Melvin get a chance to really get any sleep as James goes about working, getting the camp packed up. Melvin, you're kind of left watching as James cleans and clears. Are you going to try and sleep while he does so, or are you just going to kind of hang out?
Sleep on the sled.
Well, the sleds are with you.
James is the sled. James.
I mean, how much does Melvin technically weigh? I could probably carry him on my back while I ran.
Oh, he may have stepped away. Oh, nope.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I
I know you're lightweight.
Yeah.
Because you're tiny, if I remember right.
150 pounds.
Never mind, yeah, okay. Yeah, as you kind of look at it, James, you're pretty sure you could carry Melvin, but Melvin looks a little tired as there's like a single bag under under one eye in the kobold disguise. The other one looks to be fully normal and fine.
He's only half tired.
I'll carry you. We are getting away from this bucket.
James looks about the camp, seeing the bucket move.
Don't forget to see the word to get out of the alarm.
Banana bread as I start carrying.
As you say this, James, the bucket seems to scream and open a mouth as if it's tearing itself open, and eyes kind of expand out, and this bucket seems to begin to tear itself apart piece by piece and then vanish into nothing.
James is going to be going full sprint.
James turns and runs at the mention of... As soon as he says banana bread, Melvin, you watch as James goes slightly paler for a snowbeard.
I'm carrying
turns
Melvin.
And runs. Oh, sorry. As he goes slightly pale, turns, grabs you, and starts running off. Chastophiles kind of flying above as he follows after.
I do one of those like cartoony things where my body goes, but my head stays a little longer.
Yeah.
Evil bucket, evil bucket, evil bucket.
All you hear James kind of muttering as he starts to jog at, surprisingly a decent speed for what you've seen, Melvin. I mean, if he had just had this speed when, escaping the trees, maybe Alar would have survived. As you kind of think for a second.
James running full sprint. sprint.
Yeah.
Because I was doing this when it came to
Mhm.
leaving Alar too. I'm moving. Let's see, 3 times, so that'd be 100, and because of the load, I'm I'm moving 115 feet around,
Okay. Give
or
me a second.
135 feet around, I think, because I move at 45 feet.
Yeah. All right. Cool. As you begin to run, kind of kicking up speed with Melvin on your back, Chestophilus flying above and kind of making good pace to keep up with you as he avoids the turns and curves of the limestone road. Um, you lot start sprinting through. The sounds of heavy metal clattering in the distance, kind of seemingly picking up over the almost absolutely silent morning sounds. The sun barely peeking above the horizon as a dark sky still kind of looms overhead. A thick snow kind of coming down as it's about 0 degrees outside right now as you rush off into the wind. The trees seemingly bellowing as the sounds of the metal ring off them, or rings off in the forest, as it seems to keep pace with you, James. As the two of you continue rushing through, both of you give me a listen and spot check, as well as Chastophilus if you are looking about the forest for anything, or if you're just following James as he tries to run at ungodly speeds in heavy armor. 12, okay?
Let's listen. Here's spot.
Let's listen.
Okay, 16. Damn,
My
alright.
low rolls have hit.
Yeah, they have.
And that's
Oh, nice, 16 and 16, Melvin. All right. As Shastopoulos kind of follows behind, like watching as he flies ahead or above you lot, listening in. Both of you seem to hear the heavy sounds of the metal on metal as it clanks and clacks. Looking about, nothing kind of catches your attention, James. Melvin, though, as you look in, you see what looks to be frost giants running through the forest wearing metal, attacking these strange purple-like giants in dark armor in the distance. The sounds of clattering metal attack going off as weapons aren't being drawn, but hands and legs are being thrown about. These creatures almost doing this strange primal dance of fist fighting and kicking each other in the distance. They seem to also, at the same time, seemingly keeping up and sprinting to chase after you lot, keeping always about 50 or 60 feet into the forest and in a distance. As you hear and see this, kind of heading through the forest, is there anything you'd like to do?
I don't think so.
Okay. Kind of seeing this and letting it go. Melvin, you kind of continue on. James, already being used to the sound, continues rushing off. And after a few more hours of running, you lot finally come around the corner and see a Cinder who's got a perfectly carved snow couch set up. A couple of chairs. What looks to be a TV, though you don't know what a TV is. He just it has drawn like a snow leaping onto a wolf, kind of carved into it lightly.
It's my smashing rock.
Yeah, as Cinder seems to be just kind of sitting on the couch, relaxing, enjoying himself as he pets Snow, kind of watching off into the distance. A large sign of with okay, let me check the message you sent me earlier. Sorry, the statues of Uncle Cinder himself holding a sign that says Uncle Cinder's camping ground. As
Hey.
you kind of appear.
So, do you still see a
James
bucket?
collapses after setting down Melvin onto the snow couch. James just falls into one of the snow chairs and curls up a little bit, going, "Evil bucket."
Okay.
Ate
He's
itself.
losing his mind.
Is the bucket gone, nephew, or?
It ate itself when I shouted banana bread.
Nephew, it was an illusion.
James just looks really shaken. It looked just like Dad's bucket.
Nephew, no, it didn't.
James just kind of
He's
rocks
been
back
like
and
this
forth.
since he woke up.
Yeah, your friend that you like to blow off that said they came into your dreams decided to leave you an illusion. It wasn't real.
Note to self, curse your kicks next time. That was a dick move.
Please don't. After what he told me he did, I'd rather not.
What happened?
Well, I'm not saying anything out loud. I'll tell
By
you.
the way, he said your payment should be on its way for your
Oh, he
deal.
told me. Yeah, he told me. I'll probably be here in a few days or so.
As you kind of sit down, kind of relaxing, Cinder, watch as you or as James kind of catches his breath in the chair.
I saw the alpha of the hounds. You decided to pay a visit. Didn't stay for long though.
Well, I grabbed the bear traps as I was part of packing up camp. So we can continue on.
Well, whenever you're ready. Maybe don't fall off the wagon train this time, as it were, the sled train.
James slowly pulls out rope.
As James begins kind of walking over and go ahead and give me a use rope, James.
I'm gonna tie Melvin first.
Oh, okay. Melvin, do you consent to being tied down by James to a sled?
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is a very important question because I know you like to float. So,
do you want me to help, Cameron?
I would like help.
Because I kind of doubt you're that good at rope.
I have a +2.
Yeah, I have a +3. 21.
21. Okay.
So I get to use 11.
Uh-huh.
So 13 total. 31.
All right. Yeah, as you can kind of tie a rope or the rope around Melvin, kind of get a tight knot to it. You make a perfect hangman's noose. That would be funny as you kind of put it around Melvin's waist. If the thing wasn't a noose the size of for a giant's neck, as you kind of tighten it around his kobold form. As you tie it off onto the sled, you kind of test it a few times, and as you kind of pull, the sled seems to almost pull with it, pulling back. You're pretty sure Melvin's not going anywhere.
Great. I'll tie myself next unless Chastophilus.
That was closer.
Progress.
Chastophilus. Again, Chastophilus. Yes, there you go.
Would like me to tie him to the sled too.
Yeah.
Alright, give me a
Uncle
use rope.
help here too.
Yeah, we'll keep us this thing. So I know how this is going to go if I don't.
Please.
17.
Okay.
So +11 flat out. 15.
Dude, I should have just tied it. I did
Chastophilus, you watched as James tied Melvin down perfectly and artsly. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Artistically?
Yes, thank you. Artistically, there we go. And almost as if, like, taking into account, trying to make sure it doesn't rub against any wrong spots, James just seems to tie this thing around a few times, like a perfect noose, and then just puts it around your throat and kind of ties it down, yanking you a little bit towards the sled as he does so. You're pretty sure if you fall off this thing, you're going to be hung and pulled by the sled, as you look on at James.
I will correct it and move it down to his waist.
Chastophilus does not let you, it just takes it off and sets it to the side.
Alright, nephew, just let me.
Go ahead, Uncle. I'll help you this time.
Up to the sky and scream.
22.
22.
You can add another 10 onto that, so 32.
Well, it depends. Is Chastophilus gonna let Cinder tie him off? as he is looking up to the sky and screaming. So give him a second. I'm terrified. What is Chestopoulos going to scream tonight? And a swarm of rats burrow out of the black ground and create an anchor of flesh around my ankles onto the sled.
Oh,
All right.
that's horrifying. All right.
As the rats kind of grab onto the sled, you hear the sled kind of cracking and almost like snapping as if the wood's like being pulled up. The rats seem to clasp onto it hard, and you as you look, Chastiacles does not look like he is going to move.
Well then, time for me, Uncle. Let's get me tied on.
I said Chastiacles. I apologize, Chestopoulos. I'm getting names mixed up now. So many chasts in the background, I gotta... Alright, Cinder, what do we got? Use rope for getting James tied down, or are you gonna hang him like he just tried to do to Chastopoulos?
Wouldn't
I'll
that be
help
funny?
him do it this time, so he gets a +7 more.
You mean oh, yeah.
22, and then plus the 7, so 29.
Yeah, as you manage to tie James down as he sits down, managing to get him pretty easily situated, as you do. Managing to get a nice little knot around his waist, tying it off to the front of the thing, so that way, even if he does start to pull, the most he'll do is anchor himself and start to kind of like ski along behind you. But you managed to get him tied off.
Then I look at Snow and I just go, I know you don't want to be tied up. So how do you want to do this?
Snow just goes up, curls up at the front, and lays down on the front sled once more.
I trust you.
As you kind of begin to pull on the your equipment and begin to run. Give me a strength check to see how fast you can get this thing going. And I assume you're casting on yourself once more.
Yeah, back to ice skating.
Yep.
If I don't, we're going to be here a while.
Yep.
Let's see. I have a +2 to strength. And that's a 15, 17. Yeah, okay. One lower than earlier.
As you start rushing off, kind of looking at the location on the map and following the road, you start running at top speeds as you begin to kind of pull forward. The sled kind of giving way quite quickly as you do so. The rest of you feel the jerk and pull suddenly, except for Chastopoulos, who seems to have his grasp almost as if he was a statue onto this thing. There's nothing moving him whatsoever, as the sled seems to just carry him like he was nothing. The thing begins to pull forward, and he stands there completely fine as the rest of you feel a slight jerk and start to move forward. Cinder begins to charge off. And as you lot begin to follow, it takes another roughly 6 hours of rushing about. But as you finally come to the edge of what looks to be an unmarked river, you see in the distance a tall wooden fort with a few towers, in air quotes, set up and as you can already see in the distance, a few clear, tall figures standing on the walls themselves, buildings, roofs kind of peeking on in the background as you head in that direction. As you get closer, you hear, as you get about 50 feet within the fort, a shout in giant, "Halt! Who goes there?"
We are the Ironheart Merchant Company. We accepted a quest to deal with the Moor's hounds.
Oh, sure. All right. Welcome. Let me open the gates. As he kind of pops, you hear gates off to the side. As he kind of points off to the far western end towards the river. Eastern end towards the river. As Cinder begins to kind of go around and follow the path towards the gate. Coming along the river, you find the trail that seems to narrow. A large gate kind of opened up, and what looks to open up into a small camp of about four buildings that seem to set out a large fire pit on the beach, a couple of what looks to be logs set out to sit on, and some fishing boats set off to the side. All around looks to be a pretty large 30-foot wall kind of sticking out of the ground and encompassing this almost natural hill / bluff around the water. As you look about, kind of getting a view of your terrain. As you head in, one of the frost giants comes walking over in heavy blackened armor, a large battle axe on his back as he smiles down. He kind of looks over at James and goes, Do I know you?" As he looks at you. Go ahead.
Do I recognize this?
Give me a knowledge history.
Double check my plus on that, because I do know I have knowledge history. Oh, good. I put 1 point into it.
Nice. Wow.
Dude.
You've seen one giant. You've seen them all. This guy's wearing armor. His face is covered. There's literally nothing to give him any differentiating features than any other giant as you look up to him. The only thing you notice is he's got blue skin, so you know he's a frost giant.
You're
Nice to meet you, friend. What can I call you?
He looks over at you and goes, "I don't know your name, but
I'm Cinder.
Commander Boloff," as he holds his hand out to you.
Oh,
Does that name immediately tick the bell?
fucking should.
It does. You also recognize the name from when this individual attempted to kill you lot in the village of Knighton.
Hmm.
And then we saw him again later as a slave.
Yep.
In the Toplands.
I thought you were wanted.
He looks down at you and goes, "Wanted? Why would I be wanted?" As he looks back at the 3 other frost giants, kind of standing a few feet behind him, kind of listening in and watching them, wearing what looks to be Regan Utham's banner on their chest.
You could be thinking of someone else. You related to anyone? You got any family?
Not that I know of, but I mean, I got one of those common faces as he takes his helmet off, and you recognize very clearly James Boloff's simple, toothy, well, rather lacking of toothy grin, the few golden capped teeth in his mouth, what looks to be a the smell that immediately comes back of the curdled milk from his breath, and the very clear bald spot on his head that you notice, but he doesn't have the gut he used to. As he seems to have slimmed down.
Must be.
To be fair, he didn't have the gut either when we saw him as a slave.
True.
Because it burned away, magic being ripped out of him.
He kind of looked over at you and goes, "You know, back last time I saw you, good James here, I could have sworn you were heading off to the town of Knighton to do something. How's been your travels? That was like 2 years ago."
It's been fruitful and busy. I'm sensing motive.
Go ahead. What are you trying to figure out?
Is he here trying to kill me?
Okay. Sense if he's hostile. Okay.
I think I know what's happening here.
Or I have a feeling I may have just bumbled into another plan.
I think Boloff got replaced a long time ago.
26.
26.
As you look up at this individual, something catches your attention about his mannerisms, and as you kind of start to notice, there's a moment of a glimmer. His eyes seem to flash a light red for a moment and then dissipate as he looks at you and gives a little wink as if he sees you recognizing him.
There it is.
Yes, it's been very busy and fruitful.
Yes, I do apologize. My men here, they've recently lost their commander to the attack from these warhands. I've taken command and figured we were told about some people coming out to assist us, and we were supposed to give every advantage we can give them to make sure that they succeed and assist them in any way we can. Am I misunderstanding my orders? As he looks down at James.
No, you are not.
Perfect. As he looks back at his men and goes, "Men, your job is to take care of him as I take care of some business. I'll be in the quarters of the captain." The men seem to kind of nod and agree as they look over at you, and Boloff seems to kind of walk off over towards the one of the larger buildings.
What do they look like? Martial casters?
They are all carrying bows, and as you kind of look them up and down, lightly armored, you guess they're mostly hunters, so martial characters of sorts. None of them
So
seem to be casters amongst them.
more likely a fight search, they're going to be on the walls.
Uh, actually, I have something for each of them then. I will pass out. I just need. Yep. How many men are there with bows?
3, from what you can see.
Great, great. And anyone can use a scroll, correct?
Yeah, they just have to succeed the spellcraft.
I want you to know, Cameron, Frostchants in general do not have very high charismas.
Well, spellcraft is intelligence.
They have no
So-
bonus to it for just for your own knowledge.
I say they don't have super high intelligence either. I'm just talking about base stats. Because I think a base Frostchant has a 10 in intelligence.
The Frostchants kind of come over and looking at you. One of them looks over at Melvin and kind of goes, "Are you really a kobold?"
Sure am.
Kind of looks you up and down, kind of smiles and goes, "I've never seen one. Is it true you can fart fire?"
Not quite.
Oh, he kind of shrugs and goes, "I was hoping to tell boys back home that I was right on that."
You need a red scaled one to fart fire.
Oh, he nods at that and goes, "Hey, one of the other one goes, I told you." And he goes, "I know, but I thought any of them could. You know, they're dragons."
James, I'll be right back. I'm going to make a couple of battle plans with our commander.
Go ahead.
And you see, he kind of looks at you and
recognize that man.
Who do you say this to, Chestophilus?
The group.
Oh, okay. As suddenly you just hear Cinder walks over to James, kind of letting him know he's about to go up there. Chastophilus suddenly just speaks out of nowhere, as all of you hear this in your head.
Wait, what did Justophilus say?
Do you recognize that man?
You'll hear in the mind from Cinder, that's not who he claims to be, and I'm going to confirm something.
Okay.
Chastophilus goes back to his unflinching state of unbiased opinion as you look at his face, a slab of stone once more. Well, what face there is. But Cinder, as you kind of step away, Melvin or James, James I assume is staying there. Melvin, were you going to follow after Cinder, or are you just going to kind of watch as he takes off? I'll take silence as you're going to stay with the party. That's fine. All right, perfect. Cinder, as you head over towards the door, kind of knocking on the cabin as you do, you hear the voice kind of shout, go, "Please enter."
I'll enter and close the door behind me.
Ah, Cinder, was it?
Yes. I wanted to catch up, old friend.
Old friend, I don't know you in any way of speaking. What do you mean?
Oh, we just met yesterday.
No, I've been
Yes.
here this entire time. I don't know who you speak of.
Oh, never met a Frostchant with red eyes.
You see the eyes twinge, and you see, not as the form starts to change. However, this figure looks to be almost the size of Regan Utham as it morphs. A twisted figure of muscle and strength as you see strange glowing blue lines, almost like veins kind of appear and go up and down this creature's skin as a thick leather jerkin appears out of its skin, covering its large, brightly purple chest. Almost like a gorilla-like body that seems to appear out. Its legs seemingly growing out as well as this creature expands. Its face then simplifies and then it shrinks back down to a humanoid-like Jabrin creature. Showing a true Jabrin form as its skin goes to this orangish appearance, sharp pointy teeth, bright yellow eyes that have a little red pupils in the center, large pointed ears and slick black hair. This is not Jakix. As you look on, but you're definitely sure this is something an interesting creature as the individual looks at you after transforming and goes, "Name's Kaijin. I don't know who the hell you think you are talking to, but if you think you can assume that I'm someone that you know, I'll take your head first.
No, I knew you weren't who I thought you were. Had to confirm it, though.
I don't appreciate games, young mortal. What do you seek?
Was curious why another Morin was here.
My name doesn't matter to you, and it shouldn't involve your mission, so why do you care?
You gotta understand. When there's someone claiming to be someone else that I don't know if you're gonna stab me in the back.
Oh, dear Cinder, if I wanted you dead. I hunt apex monsters for a living. You don't think I could manage it?
Oh, I know. Your name's on the bottom of a couple documents.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, more aren't mentioned, but that doesn't matter. Why do you travel with Zebral's fourth most respected and loved follower?
Met him recently. More of a one mission thing.
You're not serving Zebral?
No.
Interesting. So what do you want with this town and this situation? You have to have some idea or something in mind with the reason to confront me. Otherwise, you're a stupid mortal who put his life on the line for nothing.
My whole life is life on the line. At any minute, a demon could just decide to kill me.
You see a flicker of the eyes kind of glance over at you and lock on you for a second at that mention, and then go back.
I slightly break the hair out of my right eye and just stare back.
I see. So you're one of the. As he looks at your eye, and you see a pause. He sees pause. He goes, "Wait a minute. You're the one Mead Metzer's looking for."
I don't think I am.
You fool.
At least I was told I wasn't.
I think so. Interesting. Okay. He nods.
I got a problem with the guy.
Not yet. As he sits down, or as Kaijin sits down, begins to pull out some papyrus and fill things out. And can you tell your followers not to listen in on our conversation? I know they can hear your mind right now, and I can imagine they're trying to listen to every word I'm saying.
I can ask him not to. I can't really control him.
Then our conversation is done. I don't have any interest in causing your party any problem, but if you mention anything of my being here in my disguise, well, let's just say James is going to wish that his uncle had never existed.
Well, as I get up, fair enough. Although I think I'm not the only one that noticed that you're not. Although I think nephew thinks you're someone else.
That was on purpose, and I would rather keep it that way. Now, be on with your mission. You'll have no issues from me. As he kind of ushers, waves you away with his hand and looks back down at the paperwork he's working on.
I'm going. I got what I needed.
As you open the door and kind of close it behind you, give me a will save, please.
This is a spell or no?
This is a spell.
29.
You feel the last 2 minutes of the conversation you just had before you realized too that this person was someone else completely vanished from your memory.
Well, then Cinder's going to live on the guess that if I went in and then left and I'm not covered in blood, he's probably not a problem.
You kind of stand there looking about, realizing you not knowing why you're standing here and looking down the little walkway towards where Melvin and James and Chastophilis are kind of being circled by the three frost giants who are kind of talking and bringing up some of the stuff about the terrain and beasts around the area. As well as one who's obsessed with trying to figure out if Melvin can, what kind of breath weapon Melvin has, as he keeps going down a long list. Yeah, good.
I'll make sure I pat each of them so I can pull up their status on the status plate when needed during this. And...
Well, I've got bad news for James.
What?
As James taps the first frost giant on the shoulder, James, you see that this creature is... I'm going to PM you something in a minute.
Oh god,
What kind of creatures run this fort, dude?
dude.
You knew this was coming.
Of course we did.
Alright, give me a second. I'm just pulling up the name of it. I'm gonna. I see your message. Chestophilus, one moment. Oh, sorry. I misspelled that because of fucking autocorrect. There you go.
Oh,
There is no N. No. You would not have. I don't think you have. Or I don't think Cinder has a thing in his head, right? Because he never agreed to be Zebril's friend. So I don't think you get Channel Cinder, sadly.
Cinder's never even taught. I didn't learn that Zebril was behind these people till a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, the thing about the creature mentioning them hearing it didn't seem was not heard outside of that room. Yes, James.
uh, mm, mm.
I will say each of these three giants seem to match up as the same individual creature. As you kind of lightly tap, they don't seem to notice as you kind of hold the status plate to the side, looking at it and kind of put it away quickly as you see the glimpse of the name of this the creature that this is. What the frost giant who's smiling down at Melvin, kind of asking him about every breath weapon in the book, kind of looks over at you suddenly as he stops and goes, "Is there a problem? What's going on?"
No, just trying to think and make sure that I will be able to do this plan of mine. As I'll pull out the
Give me a bluff check.
scrolls.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Well, no, actually, James has no real problem. He's just surprised at what they are. Going off of what happened, they're to follow orders.
Okay.
So,
as you kind of
if
let
they
it
were
go,
gonna
James.
jump me, they were gonna jump me.
Yeah, as you kind of let it go, James kind of moving on, putting the status plate away real quick. The guy looking over at you as he hears this kind of nods and kind of looks back over at Melvin and goes, "So it's you shoot out like sonic blasts of damage, right?"
Anyways, gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna, due to the nature of the Hellhounds, be utilizing these as I'll pull out the scrolls of Align Weapon Good and hand each of them to you.
They each take them happily. And the one that's kind of been talking kind of looks over and goes, I appreciate that. So we're attacking these creatures at night, I assume, because that's the only time we've seen them come close enough to the fort.
The plan is to bait them in the evening. Yes.
Okay.
Do a stakeout. Let them come close. Attack them when they least expect it.
Commander mentioned there was another individual coming. So just as a heads up, we've got another warrior that's coming as part of helping out with this mission. He should be here before nightfall, though.
Oh, what's he good at? Caster, martial.
I don't know. From what the commander said, he was a fighter. He said you guys would know more about him.
Well, if we knew his name.
Rollmon? Yeah.
Roll him in. He's a fighter.
No, I'm pretty
Marshal.
sure his name was Rollmon. Like the beast creatures that like shout their name at you when they get angry.
Rollmon is a powerful swordsman. He will assist us much.
Nods and goes, interesting. I didn't know they made beasts that could fight with swords like that. Oh, alright, yeah, we'll get you some... Oh, here, why don't you follow us? We got some notes on the creatures. I've been able to get some drawings of them while we've been going about... I even got an arrow in one of their asses before the creature ran off.
Well done.
While we walk over, I got a question. How often does the big one show up?
Every night. That's what we were originally like 12 of us guards. Shoot. There's only the 4 of us left.
As we're heading over, I'm going to pass out to dear Uncle Cinder 3 potions of fire resistance 10.
Okay.
I'll just add them to my belt.
Oh.
Yeah.
To Melvin, I'm going to hand off 2 because he really shouldn't get close enough.
You know, it's weird that hounds keep attacking you guys. They surrounded me. I just stared down the leader and they all left.
Oh, that's their scouting technique. They come out. That's what they did when they first showed up with us as well. We first saw them showing up in the night. They just sit out there for the night, do nothing. We tried throwing
Well-
some sticks to scare them off, and it seemed to work. Ran off after howling a bit. Next
Didn't we-
night, they came out with 50 of the damn bastards and swarmed our walls. We couldn't stand a chance that night.
50.
He nods and he goes, "Oh yeah, these
Oh.
beasts seem to just just drive up all the walls, climb
That's-
through, tearing everything out."
Odd. The quest only mentioned about half of that.
That's because this was that's all that the runner was able to get out. We sent a courier in the middle of the first night. He wrote down what he saw and ran for it. I didn't even think he made it through, to be honest.
No. He did. Just took us a few days to get here.
He nods.
We did also on the way. Melvin found one of their caves, or one of their where they've been sleeping.
Oh, good. They've set up an area that they're getting ready. That means they're probably gonna have children or pups here soon, which means they're gonna get hungrier.
Oh, so what you're telling me is I'll get some pups to raise. That's fun.
Okay, as they open the door to this large cabin where you see a bunch of like maps on the lined out on a table, some like red string pointed about areas and circles kind of drawn onto it.
I have a question for Melvin.
Yeah.
Melvin, are you connected mentally to James at any point while we're doing all this?
I can be.
If I need a yes or no, not I can be.
I think I talked to you last, so probably yeah.
You would find out that these things are this.
Oh, you're gonna PM Melvin the thing.
Yep.
Everyone's learning, but Uncle Cinder.
I was just saying, Melvin, who doesn't know what that creature is, for reference, Melvin, here, I can send you a link if you want to take a look at something real quick.
I sent him the link.
Oh, okay.
Fine. I like mystery fights. I like mysteries.
Everything about these
Oh,
creatures.
It would end up passed along to Chestophius.
What was that? You didn't even try.
I don't.
As you kind of
I'm dead.
begin to explain the creatures of what you're seeing in your head to Melvin and Chestophilus, Cinder kind of looking over the map, and then as you kind of gather with the troops to look over the map and begin to plan your strategy out, the rest of the day begins to kind of go by as you kind of set up traps, kind of get yourselves ready to go, and kind of wait for Roloman's arrival. We're going to end the session here for tonight. We thank you all for joining us. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time for what will probably be a great dog fight.